York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And a great Monday morning hello to you. I am Gary Sutton, and we start a brand new week here on a Monday. Mark McKenzie is here as well this morning on the Gary Sutton Show, brought to you by Barley Snyder Law Firm. Yep, you're talking about a strategically based law firm that's there to help you with all different kinds of problems, but specifically innovative legal solutions for your business. They're a law firm for today's business world. Check them out today at barley.com. Gary Sutton with you on a Monday morning. And looking forward to a wonderful week this week. Although a lot of people get hung up on Mondays, I have found, and I to bear some of that out, I was looking at a little thing this morning that kind of jumped out at me, and I'll talk to you about that in just a few moments. But today is National Nude Day, whatever that means, Mark.
Thanks for celebrating.
Yeah, no. You'll never worry about that. And National Tape Measure Day. So I guess
the tape
I guess
measure?
you know what people will be doing today. I mean, National Tape Measure Day and National Nude Day all in one day. I don't know. Does that? I mean, I don't know what anyone's thinking of there, but that's yeah.
Did you have trouble finding your tape measure?
Yeah, I would. I don't know where it is. My wife keeps it around the house somewhere,
Yes.
but yeah, I have no idea. 46 days, by the way, to Labor Day weekend. But people often say, "Would you go to a nudist colony and things like that?" I can't ever imagine doing that.
I am very proud of my body.
Yeah.
I would show it off to any.
No, I'm not. No, there's no need for that. No, it's. But I guess there's a mindset there, I suppose,
Maybe.
that, unencumbered by the world, you don't have to.
Well, it is how you were born.
And how you're going to go out, probably.
I mean, you were born with clothes on.
Yeah, so there you go. Anyway, let's go to a safer topic here, which is a study found that you'll still hate Mondays even when you're retired, which is
Why is that?
I really, this kind of caught me because I thought, if you retired, Mondays wouldn't bother you. I wouldn't think. Although I've got to tell you, I've talked to more of my friends who are retired, who are busier than I am, and I thought I was pretty busy. But these guys they've got schedules and they've got all. If I retired, well, see the problem, and one of the reasons I hate the idea of retirement is the idea of just changing the rhythm of life. Changing, just going and doing something entirely different, which would be just relaxing or sitting around. But my wife and I have a 15-year difference. And so the idea of just kind of waiting until she got home each day or going out and just playing golf every day, that's a nice thought, but I don't know. But the idea of retirement, to me, you shouldn't be like scheduled to the yin-yang. I mean, I'd be doing all kinds of stuff that would be fun, but a lot of people have all these schedules, and they got
Like
this
what?
person coming today. They've got that doctor's appointment tomorrow. They've got this coming up today. And I'm thinking, I wouldn't be wanting to do a darn thing. But here's
Well, I mean, you have to go to see the doctor, don't you?
well, you do, but not every single day.
And I mean, the other ones are what, service calls for?
Yeah, all this different stuff, or they're looking around and making up stuff, making up jobs. And to me, I'd be trying to eliminate as many as I could, but. Maybe that's just me. It's just one person's opinion.
It's a lot of it has just changed because we remember, I remember my grandmother and grandfather, and when they stopped working, I mean, they didn't stop, working, but I mean, they puttered around the house, they took little day trips, things like that. It's not the same anymore.
No, it's not. I know a lot of people who volunteer at different things,
Exactly.
which I think is great, and things like that.
Healthier now.
I would still want to make something of my day, but I wouldn't get crazy with it, I guess is what I'm saying. And so anyway.
So you mean play more golf?
No, I would even get tired of that. I just think that that could get old too. But I also don't want to just change and kind of die away. You know, I think when people
You
do
think
that,
that's it?
sometimes I think people just kind of die away. And that's
Without a purpose.
yeah, without a purpose. And I guess you and I are so used to like,
Yeah.
this is what we do. That
I cannot imagine what I would do with myself.
I don't know what I would do with myself either. I'm serious. I would probably annoy somebody, but that's.
Well, I already.
And why do that when we do that every morning? So, I mean,
Yes.
you wouldn't want to do that. Anyway, so here's how hard Mondays suck. A new study found that they keep messing with us even when we are no longer working. So researchers tested people's hair to see how much of the stress hormone cortisol they've been producing. They tested hair
Wow.
to see how much the stress hormone cortisol they've been producing. The ones who said Mondays were the most stressful day of the week, so pretty much everybody, had 23% more cortisol coursing through their veins. Too much of it can up your risk of heart disease, weight gain, and other issues. Now, the crazy part of this whole thing was even true for people who'd already retired. And they think it's because work week stress is just so ingrained in us.
I believe that.
There you go. So when you've spent most of your life stressing about work, school, and the start of a new week, it's just a tough feeling to shake.
Here's what I would do though.
Go ahead.
I would relish the thought of it being Monday.
Yeah.
If I didn't have to go to work the next day, or if I had something fun to do, like maybe play golf or pickleball.
That's a good. I like.
I would
that.
like. It's going to be Monday, and I don't have to get up.
Would you call people up that do have to go to work and say, you know what, you're going to work tomorrow, aren't you? I'm not. No, I mean, rub it in. No, you're not. You don't have that vicious side.
No. But you know what I'm saying. I would not. I wouldn't fear it anymore. I'd really enjoy the fact that I don't have to go anywhere.
Right.
If I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. So, and wake up when you wanted to, and all of that.
Yeah, instead of 3:30, how about let's just push it and go crazy 5:00.
Yeah, exactly. I remember the November 8th, the day after we got fired. Okay, from our previous job, you and I, same job actually, and I remember the next morning waking up, and I didn't get up until like 8:30, which is for us, middle of the day.
It is.
So I got up at like 8:30, and I remember bolting up and thinking, I have nowhere to go today.
Yeah.
So I experienced retirement for one day. And
well, I don't think that's retirement. That is
well, actually, for a bunch of days.
You were in shock. You were in shock, and I can tell you that it had happened to me when our original company got sold, and I got laid off for exactly 6 months, and then I got hired back by the new company. You could have just kept me. You could have done that.
Right.
But there's that shock. So I think that's sort of what you were experiencing. I was figuring, I knew that this wasn't going to be the end. There was going to be something else. And I only knew that because it had happened before. So I felt confident that I didn't know what form it would be, but then we would bounce back. So it was more about what's coming around the corner? What's next?
Well, see, and I woke up that morning thinking that way. I wasn't really in a bad mood.
Good.
But the first reaction was, this is really weird. This is the first time in like 52 years I don't have a place to go. and then I rolled over and I thought, okay, I'll try to sleep a little bit. But I was thinking about all these new things that maybe were out there. I had no idea that this would be one of them. But
really.
It was kind of really weird. But I didn't like it. I mean, it was like, all right, this is okay for a day or so. But the idea of retiring was not. It's not in my DNA.
It's coming soon enough. Let's just admit it. And at some point, whether the end comes naturally,
you get retired again,
or at some point they're just going to say, you know what, we're going to try something different, and that'll be that. And know that I, at least for me, gave it a good long run, and just enjoy that.
I'm like that every day. Every day is a lifetime to me. So I do look at it in a positive way. However, I did see another list this morning, the top 5 things that fill us with almost as much dread as waking up and realizing it's Monday. Yeah, here, for example, our kids saying, wait a sec, this isn't a real Labubu. Okay.
No.
Yeah. The baggage claim carousel stopping with our luggage nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, no.
You ever do that when you go down and they go, your baggage claim number 4 is where you'll find and you go, no.
Yeah.
The dog returning from the woods behind our house with a skull in its mouth.
There you go.
That would scare us almost as much as dreading, waking up and dreading Monday. The check engine light coming on in the middle of Montana. It's
Lord.
not good. Not good. Hearing our tattoo artist say, oops. Yeah. What do I say? No, okay. Opening our mailbox and seeing a jury summons. That has almost as much dread as a Monday. The person next to us on a red eye saying, hey, I'm Jerry. What's your name? No, I'm not ready to talk when we're on a red eye. And our favorite NFL team signing Aaron Rodgers. That is almost as much dread as a Monday, they say.
Good luck, Steve.
At least in this study that I saw. So anyway, coming up this morning here on the Gary Sutton Show, we've got Daryl Henry in this morning and Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith's going to be in first at about 6:35 as we take a look to August 7th here at the stadium. A big day, and we're pushing it hard. Pack the Park. And we're going to talk to Kevin about that this morning from Kindness Worldwide. And also kind of get a good idea of some nice things to start the new week. So we'll do some of that. And what is the purpose of kindness for Kevin? We're going to ask him about that this morning, too. And then at 7:05, you and I will hit all the main stories that are happening around the world, the area, the state, the country, here on the Gary Sutton Show. Maybe a little bit of commentary on that. At 7:35, Daryl Henry joins us, voice of the revolution. The season to date, the Revs had a pretty good weekend, and they had a pretty bad Friday night, but pretty good weekend after that. And we'll get into all that with Daryl. And, of course, today is the Brooks Robinson Golf Tournament, which I'm playing in today up at Heritage Hills. So that's an annual fun day for the Revs and people who get involved.
It is a Shark Awareness Day.
Oh, Shark Awareness Day. Good.
So I've celebrated by making you aware.
I'm aware now of
that
sharks
it is now
today.
Shark
So when I go down the street,
Day.
go, oops, look.
Let me check that box.
8:05 this morning, Joe Decree, Major Joe Decree, takes a look at the world through the eyes of a vet. And Mark Henderson, former Major League pitcher and player in the NBA as well as Washington State, joins us this morning to talk about All-Star games, the All-Star games tomorrow night. Do we still need them? What is the purpose of the All-Star game? Have they become so watered down as to become kind of meaningless?
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, so we'll get into all that this morning with all of our guests. And what else is happening today?
Food holiday.
Food holiday.
The food holiday, one of the, I think, seminal dishes of an American.
Okay.
We've talked about, hot dogs and hamburgers, macaroni and cheese day.
Oh, yeah. And there's a lot of people that are pretty serious about their macaroni and cheese.
Yes. I mean, we go everything from, the stuff in the blue box, which is, I don't know. I guess it is a form of macaroni.
I guess.
Yeah, the cheese in that little foil pouch.
Nah, it just doesn't do it, does it?
It doesn't.
No.
But I'm really bad. See, for me, I think a really good macaroni and cheese probably should be made with a bechamel sauce. That's where you have the basis, and then you can go from there for particular kinds of cheeses or combinations. And I'm terrible at making a bechamel. I'm actually just kind of lazy.
Yeah.
Because
I don't even know what bechamel is. So that's,
it is it's a sauce where you can incorporate other things. So if you really want the cheese to be that gooey sauce in the mac and cheese, you probably should have a bechamel because you can't just melt cheese on macaroni.
I like my macaroni thick, almost where you could cut it out in a square, almost like a lasagna. I love crust on the top of it, just a nice little crunchy crust to give a little texture.
What about other things like pork or
I don't mind
brisket?
if you work some of that in. You could do some of that, and that does not hurt my senses. But if I'm just eating macaroni, I can't eat a lot of it, but I like it. I have a friend, Rich Weeder. I'm saying his name in the air because he makes the greatest macaroni that has ever been made in my life.
Wait, you mean just the macaroni?
Macaroni. I mean macaroni and cheese. He makes the greatest macaroni and cheese that I have ever had in my life. All else is measured against that.
I think I've ordered macaroni and cheese maybe 5 times in my life.
I'll bet you I've not ordered it that many times in my life when I've been out.
Yeah.
So although if I know a place has great macaroni, I will give it a shot. macaroni and cheese, I should say. Yeah. Anyway, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We got a lot more coming your way here on the Gary Sutton Show. And what do we have coming up next, Mark, from your vantage
Well,
point?
we are going to go back in time, actually less than a day, and actually where we are. So,
And we are going to answer an age-old question of, do you really need to wait 30 minutes to swim after you eat?
oh, that's a good idea.
Remember when your mom and dad told you that? Well, we'll
yeah.
find out the answer when we come back here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Mark McKenzie here this morning. It is 6:19.
The 1-1 swing and a drive to deep left. Is it high enough? It is out of here. Jalen Miller with a missile home run to left. The Revs have tied this game right away. Miller's team leading 12th of the year. It's 1-1 here in the first inning.
So the Revs, after Friday night, they had just gotten back in. In fact, Darryl was telling me, he said, when I was going home from the trip to High Point, he said, I was listening to the second hour of your show on Friday morning. We had just gotten in, and so the Revs get in. They get a couple hours of sleep. They got to go back out to the stadium. They play that night. They were down, 12 to 4. I'm sorry, like 14 to 4, something like that. And they come back, and it made it 14-11. And it was this wild game, and they had a bunch of errors. It was really bad baseball that night, to be honest with you. But lots of hits and lots of homers and lots of stupid stuff. And it looked like he just gotten home. So they lose 19-12.
Wow.
On Friday night. I mean, it looked more like a football score. I think it's a record number of runs scored in the game. And the Staten Island Ferry Hawks had scored 35 runs on the Revs in the last two games with that 19 and 16 Sunday a week ago. And so it wasn't looking good. There was no joy in Mudville that night. And so the next day, the Revs come out and win 7-4 in a lockdown effort with Pace doing a great job pitching. And they just look really good. No errors. I mean, sharp, focused. And yesterday, they come back out and they win again 15-2 and just buried Staten Island. The only two runs they had was this guy that had been batting ninth the night before. They moved him to the leadoff spot the next day, and he hits 2 home runs. Back to back, 2 home runs, and then they get him out the rest of the time. But those are the only 2 runs they scored. Nobody else was able to do anything.
Wow.
And so the Revs come out yesterday with a rock solid effort, and they are now find themselves again tie for first place now in the second half, 4-2, with the Lancaster Stormers, and they send the Staten Island Ferry Hawks back home with their tail between their legs, or whatever.
The Revs will be hosting the High Point Rockers tomorrow night at 6:30.
Looking forward to that series. I'll be doing the games Wednesday and Thursday, by the way, is an 11 o'clock game. So we want to remind you about
daytime.
that. Yeah, daytime game.
Take a break.
Which is camp. It's camp day.
Yes, absolutely.
Today, everybody takes a day off for the Brooks Robinson Golf Tournament, which is out at Heritage Hills. I'll be participating in that today and looking forward to it. Daryl Henry, we're going to talk to him in just a few minutes this morning about 7:30. Was telling me he was practicing when he was down in North Carolina. He's practicing his golf because he only plays like a couple times a year now. And he said he went into a Top Golf place. And he's in there, so he goes in and they have like a restaurant there and the Top Golf.
Well, yes.
So he goes
bar.
He goes in to practice, he hits a whole bunch of balls, and he sits down, he says, and I had dinner all by myself. He said, it was so quiet. So here's what he orders for dinner. A salad and a pitcher of beer. We talked about this all week, and I was amazed. It sounded healthy. He goes, yeah, I had a salad. I said, well, that's good for you. And then he said, and a pitcher of beer.
It's vegetarian, actually.
I guess. And so he said the server at the table said, how many glasses? He goes, just one. Just one. And he nursed that for a while. So anyway, but he said, I had a great time. I was practicing. He said, so I'm expecting to see instant results tomorrow at the Brooks Robinson tournament. He told me that yesterday. So we'll find out today what his feelings are about all
tissues,
that. Yeah. Well, he doesn't take his golf all that seriously, but he's a competitor, you see.
Right.
He's a competitor.
Most men are.
So I know today even if he doesn't get the results, he'll still expect more of himself.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, with that, we turn back to Mark McKenzie.
Well, here we are. It's a brand new week. So what are we looking at this week down in D.C.?
The Senate is expecting a vote this week on the White House request to cut $9.4 billion in foreign aid and public broadcasting. President Trump putting pressure on some Republicans concerned about cuts to public broadcasting, saying on Truth Social, quote, any Republican that votes to allow this monstrosity to continue broadcasting will not have my support or endorsement. A rescissions request has to come from the White House and can pass with a simple majority in both chambers. GOP members with issues say public broadcasting can be a major tool for rural communities during severe weather events. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
Kind of reminds me of when people try to get rid of AM radio, and people in Congress come out and say, wait a second, we can use that during emergencies and all kinds of stuff in our news and so forth. And
what is it they forget? They forget until you need them.
Yeah, until you need them, and then that's it. So, you probably heard this your whole life. At least I did. Whenever I went to the beach or I went to the pool, don't swim for at least 30 minutes after you eat. Do you ever hear that from your parents? Yeah. Because if not, you'll cramp. So is it true? Turns out not at all. It's just another thing our parents did to instill a deep level of anxiety within us. So where did it come from? It was first seen in the original Boy Scout manual from 1908 called Scouting for Boys by Robert Baden-Powell.
Oh, the guy.
Yeah.
That's the guy founder.
Thank you. It said, quote, never bathe in deep water very soon after a meal. It is very likely to cause cramp, which doubles you up, and so you get drowned, unquote. And recently, a physician who was also a competitive swimmer in high school spoke out about the hypocrisy of this claim, mostly because parents encourage their kids to eat before playing soccer to prevent cramps. He said, I could physically tell the difference if I had 2 pieces of toast and then went and swam an hour at 6 a.m. in the morning in high school versus if I didn't eat.
Right.
I would be dragging. And back in 2011, the American Red Cross Scientific Advisory Committee, now that sounds like that's authoritative,
Official.
concluded that, quote, eating before swimming is not a contributing risk for drowning and can be dismissed as a myth. That's from Food and Wine magazine, so I know it's true.
Hey, speaking of wine, one more quick story
Go ahead.
before we check out what's happening in state news in the bottom of the hour. This guy got arrested in New York over wine.
James Wellesley pled not guilty in Brooklyn federal court following his extradition from the UK, where he was arrested in 2022. Prosecutors say he and his co-defendant, Stephen Burton, ran a company called Bordeaux Cellars that brokered loans between investors and wealthy wine collectors that were secured by their collections. But prosecutors say the wine collectors didn't exist, no loans were made, and Bordeaux Cellars didn't have the wine used to secure the loans. Instead, they say Wellesley and Burton used loan money provided by investors for themselves and to make fraudulent interest payments to other investors. If convicted, they each face up to 20 years in prison. In New York City, Lisa Lacera, Fox News.
And by the way, our question of the day today, are you satisfied with the Trump administration's response to questions of a cover-up, one saying they had a list of clients on the Epstein list, to now saying that they don't? What needs to be done, if anything? What are your thoughts on that this morning? Go to Gary Sutton's show on Facebook and check that out. We'll be talking about that later in the show today. Also, you can check out YorkRevolution.com for your ticket packages for the upcoming season starting Tuesday, April 29th. And don't forget, August 7th is Pack the Park for Kindness Night. We're going to be talking about that with Kevin Smith next, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 6:30. I was talking to somebody at the game yesterday who said, I love the bumper music for the most part. It comes back. He said, but I totally agree with you, Gary, on the ones that you don't like. No, he didn't really say that.
Shut up.
He didn't say the last part, but he did say he loves it. And this one is one of my favorites.
That's why I do.
Phil Collins and Philip Bailey of Earth, Wind and Fire. Yeah.
See, this is one that I would play early
I would play this every day.
to get you up.
I know.
Heart pumping.
You play me like a guitar. I know what you do. I know where you're at. But this is a great song. I mean, Phil Collins.
I just want to say,
formerly of Genesis, and of course, Phil Bailey of Earth, Wind and Fire. The elements of the universe.
to that person who mentioned the bumper music, I keep Donny Osmond in my back pocket. You know, when I want to really get him going.
I know. But he was saying that he likes the idea that he said you guys have to pay like royalties if you play like more than 40 seconds. I said, yeah. We actually do pay something, by the way.
Yes,
Daryl was telling me we actually do pay something, but most stations we might take a little liberty now and then. I think.
I mean, some days it just depends on what we're talking about.
The mood we're in.
Yes.
And if a song really sucks, then we even it out by knocking that one out right away, and so it all evens out in the long run.
Yes, that's how I look.
Because we're not playing music as a station, but we use music to give a little flavor.
That is a good point. Have we ever played
a whole song?
A song all the way through?
We have. Whitney Houston's.
Yes.
Yeah.
National anthem.
National
You're right.
anthem. Whitney Houston's national anthem.
Good catch.
And but no one's ever called us and said, "Hey, knock it off."
Not yet.
No, not yet.
So shut up.
Take the phone off the hook, would you please?
Yes,
anyway,
right.
Welcome back. The Gary Sutton Show here on WOYK. Don't forget, you can, speaking of phone, you can call us if you want to, 833-478-4729. You can also text us throughout the day. And our text number is 833-478-4729 as well. And get in here and just let us know what you think of the show. And you can also let us know today what you think of this idea of we had a list of clients sitting on our desk, said Pam Bondi, who's the Attorney General. And now she says, no, there wasn't any such list. So we just had the case was on the desk. And she all of a sudden has gone from being bombastic about this to being on witness protection. So it's, how do you feel about that? I think President Trump's saying, you're not still talking about this, are you? Yeah. Well, don't. Well, that's not good enough. I think that's it's bothering a lot of people who are conservatives, liberals, people in general alike. And we'll get into some more of that later on the show. But right now I want to get into some things with Kevin Smith of kindnessworldwide.org. And he joins us here this morning on WOYK to start the week in a very kind fashion. Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
I'm great, Gary, and do love the Phil Collins song. 1985 was the year, and that was the year I graduated from high school. So I have a 40-year reunion coming up.
Thanks. Yeah.
And
I was feeling really good until you said that.
Speaking of kindness or unkindness, Mark mentioned Donny Osmond.
Yeah.
And the first concert I ever went to, it was 8th grade, was Donny and Marie.
No kidding.
And, it was outside of Philadelphia, King of Prussia.
Really?
I think it was.
Donny and Marie.
And it might have been, perhaps. But I had the audacity to actually buy a Donny and Marie on tour shirt and wore it to school the next day. Oh, wow. And let's just say that there was a lot of unkindness. And so I learned my lesson.
In my school, you could get beat up for that. I mean, that would be grounds of saying getting a little whoop butt, So, well, anyway, at least you had the, see, right there, you knew there, you probably didn't know there, the whole kindness thing was taking root.
Absolutely.
There it is.
Well, I was secure in myself, and I was very proud of that concert.
Right.
My sister loved, was big Marie Osmond fan, but I did learn a lesson that there are certain on-tour shirts you just don't wear to school the next day.
Yeah.
Yes, in 8th grade in particular.
So you got your Black Sabbath shirt out the next day.
Yes, and I did see Black Sabbath a few years later.
I'm still waiting for the Christmas album from Black Sabbath. It's never has come out yet, and I don't know. I might be waiting for a little longer. Anyway, great to have you in this morning. Wanted to talk to you. Someone said to me the other day, and I think you were talking about this a little bit on Friday, that there are groups that don't understand what the kindness movement is about. And I explained it to them. And see if I explained it well. I want to get your badge of or your seal of approval on this. And I said, I understood the kindness movement right away when Kevin Smith came up to me, and we actually went out to lunch and we talked about this a little bit. But I understood where you were going for, and tell me if I'm wrong. I said, Kevin was a really good person before this person returned his wallet. And it struck him that there were things he could do to affect change that would be things that would in his control. How many of us sit around and complain all day long about, oh my gosh, look out there, it's just terrible. Politics is awful, negative stuff. People are doing bad things to bad people, and you end up dwelling on that, and it shapes your whole outlook on how things are. And I said, I think what Kevin's doing with the kindness thing is to say, wait a second, there are things we can do daily that are going to really focus on what we can do for our own little corner of the world. And to me, that was kind of the purpose of the whole kindness movement. Did I get it or not?
No, you pretty much nailed it. I mean, I had an epiphany, and I realized that instead of dwelling on what I couldn't control, I focused on what I could. And I used to feel powerless to do anything about it. There's a lot of divisiveness in the world.
Right.
Things that weigh on all of us, that weighed on me. And instead of feeling powerless as fate and circumstances unfolded, I became empowered. And I felt I just got to lead by my own example. I can control that, hopefully inspire others. And in this journey, there was a Harvard study that I came across not long ago, and it said it only takes 3.5% of a population, locally or globally, of a sustainable campaign for people to follow it to actually create meaningful, sustainable impact. Right. And really, that's the goal here, is that you're trying to ultimately change our mindset as a culture, and focus on mindful kindness, and just those little things are the big things. And we each have that control or power within us to control that. And I'm just trying to do what I can. I can't control other people, but hopefully others might be inspired by it. And we're starting to see the ripple effects to some degree. And that's really what it's all about to me.
I know with the cards that you hand out, you have like 16 different cards. And I hand those out, and I've been amazed in a tangible way, where I'm consciously thinking about this every day, the reaction that people have, or the little things that we do. Where we could choose not to do them, or we could choose to do them. Well, I'm choosing to do them. And I've always kind of tried to do that, but it's more acute now. And I find that when you're focused on those things during the day, you're doing a lot to maybe just your own little corner of the world, your own little place, or stopping to chat with somebody that maybe no one has stopped to chat with all day. Those are the kind of things that make a day better. And people say that's corny. Well, good. I'll raise my hand for corniness, but I'm raising my hand for kindness, really. And I think a lot of people are able to do that. Some people do it just as a matter of course. And then some of us have to think about it a little bit more, because we get running in a fast world, and we forget to, sometimes we run past people, and we run past situations, and we run past opportunities. And I think that's really one of the things that you've been really talking about a lot, as I've been digesting kind of the bulk of what all you've been trying to get across to people, Kevin.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the kindness cards are an example of mindful kindness. It's just planting a seed. I call it kindfulness. But there's actually a chemical reaction. There's a science behind it. And you mentioned cortisol. Mondays, people are a little bit stressed. Cortisol levels are high. It has adverse health effects. Well, kindness reduces the level of cortisol in your body. There's an actual science behind it. So that improves your blood pressure, lowers your blood pressure. It improves your heart. So there's a lot of science behind it. But those little things, like a kindness card, are simply a small, kind gesture, which we can control, actually has favorable implications for our own health and well-being, but certainly those who we are portraying kindness to.
My mother used to write out cards. She had like a little set of cards. She'd write them out and send people cards. Just send them to them. She would take chicken soup around to people. You could break your leg. And when I was a kid, I ran into a barbed wire fence with my sled. And my mother said, "What did you learn?" I said, "Well, you don't sled into barbed wire fences." And she goes, "Yeah, here's some chicken soup." And it was like, my hands were bloodied and stuff, but the chicken soup would clear out. But she would do all that. And there are people, and I would dare say many people listening this morning have their own little ways of doing things. My dad used to drop off sourdough bread. He'd make sourdough bread, and he would go around to houses, and he would drop sourdough bread off to friends just because. So I guess just doing things because is not such a bad thing, is it? And that's something else that you can kind of weave into that whole kindness fabric that you're talking about here, Kev.
And there's a great book that I'm reminded of, Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Yes.
And just those
Is that Irma
things.
Bomback?
I think it might have been.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. Great read.
Now, into that, and I know one of the things you're going to be doing in coming days is getting some of the Revs players involved. Mm-hmm. There are a couple that are really interested in hearing about this and to pass it on maybe to the team as well. But August the 7th, this is the date. Ground zero is right here where we're sitting, WellSpan Park. that we are going to pack the park that night. And I want you to tell people out there about what Pack the Park is all about, what's going to be going on, and the reason they should be getting out here and how they can get their tickets right now today to get a place reserved, because we're hoping you're going to need a place reserved for that night, Kev.
Well, the goal of Pack the Park for Kindness on August 7th is literally to pack the park. This community, as you know, is the epicenter of a kindness movement that is started here and is spreading throughout the world. The world is taking note of York County for many, many reasons. And there are those who think that a kindness event, that we can't draw a crowd. That's what the cynics say. Well, I would argue that they don't know York, because I know this community. We all know this community. And I believe if they're aware of this event and the stakes, that they will stand up for kindness by showing up for it. And sending a message to the world, because this will be recorded. The film director for the movie For Such a Time as This will be here to capture all the magic of the evening. And if something so magical can happen in York, Pennsylvania, it can happen anywhere and everywhere. So we're going to infuse kindness throughout the fan experience, try to get some of the players engaged in various ways. We still have a game to play.
Right.
But it doesn't really matter what the final score is. We certainly want the home team to win. We always do. But everyone's going to go home a winner that evening. With kindness, everybody wins. But I think it's going to be a unique, one-of-a-kind experience. But we just got to get the word out.
Right.
Word of mouth is what's going to, it's driven this movement from the beginning. It's what it's going to take for let the people know about this event. But I'm convinced that this community is aware that they will show up for kindness in large numbers.
Yeah, and what are some of the activities that people are going to be doing that evening? Some of the things that are going to be going on in their schedule right now, Kevin?
Yeah, so we're going to, between innings, we're going to have messages of kindness from prominent members of the community, certainly promoting the film For Such a Time as This, that York County is the epicenter of and is going to be showcased favorably in the film. There's going to be mindful kindness. The players will be wearing special caps. They'll be auctioned off at the end of the game. We'll have Embrace Kindness Worldwide logos on the field. Maybe between innings, instead of the kiss cam, we'll have the hard hands cam.
Right.
And show fans showing hard hands. And, of course, a percentage of the ticket price purchased through the link at kindnessworldwide.org is going to go into a kindness prize. Supporting Give Local York, and Kindness Worldwide are co-sponsoring this event. So there's a lot of ways we're going to be infusing kindness throughout the fan experience. We're trying to also line up some police to give out some kindness citations during the evening. So it really is going to be a special evening for all.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun evening. I'm going to be there. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you'll be out here. And right now, go to kindnessworldwide.org. That's kindnessworldwide.org, all one word. And get in there and get your ticket. There's a place right at the top where you can go in and get your ticket right now. And get on out here. Bring your family. It's going to just be a fantastic night. And meet the friends and community around you and have a chance to do some acts of kindness as well. You're probably already doing a lot out there. Do some more. Have some fun that night with us. First of all, it's a great place to come to for a game. But this night, August 7th, it's a Thursday night. We want you to get on out here. I just had the hiccups. Get on out here and join Kevin and join all of us as we really stand up for kindness. It is ground zero for kindness that night. It's right here at Wellspan Park at the stadium. Thursday, August 7th. Please write it down. Please go get your tickets right now at kindnessworldwide.org. And we're looking forward to seeing you that night. Kevin, thanks for all you're doing. We're going to keep getting the word out. I'm going to be putting it out on Facebook today, all over the place, on my show Facebook, on my regular Facebook. And I hope all of you will as well. Invite your friends wherever you are. Network it out. Get them to invite their friends. And let's get this place packed that night just to symbolize and show people that a whole lot of people can get together in the name of kindness. Kevin, thanks for all you're doing. Really appreciate it, my friend. We look forward to seeing you on Friday, okay?
Likewise, Gary, and I really appreciate your leadership in this effort.
Thanks. Have a great week, my friend, and take care. Kevin Smith, the guy who started Kindness Worldwide, and I'll tell you what, it's not something that is small. It's something that's going to be really, really big in the long run, and why shouldn't it be? It's the better angels than ourselves that we're looking forward to, right? Not the worst devils, okay? The better angels. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more right after this. Mark, what do we have coming up next? Mark doesn't have a mic yet, but he does now.
There we are.
There he is.
We are going to, it's a smorgasbord. And I'm going to break away from the 1985 bumper music to just note a historical event that happened on this date.
I love it. And we'll look forward to doing that when we return here on the Gary Sutton Show. It's a Monday morning. Every day's Christmas here on WOYK. I don't know how many of you are Broadway fans, but Les Mis, the musical, and this was a really updated version of it, really, really good. And then one of the great songs in the movie, obviously it ended it, the movie itself, but it was Les Mis is a very, very deep, dark movie in a lot of ways, but yeah.
Now, why would I be playing that?
Go ahead.
It was.
Bastille Day?
On this date, 1789, storming of the Bastille, widespread discontent due to the French Revolution.
Right.
And Bastille Day still celebrated annually in France. They make the, not pilgrimage? I don't know. They walk.
Yeah.
They walk to...
Jean Valjean. In that, is that the name of the guy, Jean Valjean?
That's the Hugh Jackman character.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman played that. And who was the girl that played the
Anne Hathaway?
Anne Hathaway. That's exactly right. She got into a lot of varied roles in her career, and a lot of you remember her in what was the one she did?
Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
She was also in The Princess, I believe.
Yeah, Devil Wears Prada is the one I was thinking about.
That's a good movie.
But
and they're going to make another one, by the way.
Yeah, I saw it. Devil Wears Prada. This time she's upset. That's the sequel. I don't know if it's called that.
You were going to say?
I was going to say, Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. We talk about them every day. They're our presenting sponsor. But they are, one of the things I would say about them is they are varied. And that would be the understatement of the year. When I say they're varied, they have 130 plus attorneys who are in so many different areas of law. And so, when we have problems that come up and we say, okay, especially if you're a business owner, and you say, where do I go? Who do I call? Well, pretty good chance if you call Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law, which is like a gold standard for law representation around the region, they're going to find something for you. Like they are involved in these areas: banking, business, creditor rights, cybersecurity, employment, employee benefits, higher education, immigration, trusts and estates, transportation, logistics and trade, litigation and risk management, real estate and construction, tax, senior living, hospitality, healthcare, food and agribusiness, ESOP plans, environment and energy. I mean, they are involved and they have experts in those areas. Ladies and gentlemen, they are the kind of people you want to represent you. And why? Because they form a relationship with you. They have a range and knowledge and experience, and you're going to be very, very happy with the kind of representation you'll get there because they believe that the strong individual relationships they forge with you and personal attention that they're going to give to you are essential elements in serving their clients. Why don't you check them out today? Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. Here in York, you can give them a call at 717-846-8888. They're located at 100 East Market Street, right next to the Yorktown Hotel, just across Duke Street there from them. Or you can stop by and see them 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It'd be good to get an appointment ahead of time. And you can also find out more about them by going to barley, BARLEY.com. That's barley.com. The proud presenters of our show each and every day. WOYK News Time, 6:57.
All right, so here's, I wanted to find out about, because I think I am going to go see Superman, at least if the weather isn't great in the next couple of days.
Did that defeat all the things we were saying about it? It was a blockbuster.
Yeah, here's the latest.
Superman can lift up collapsing buildings, Godzilla-sized monsters, and now the box office.
My actions, I stopped a war.
Maybe.
Not maybe. I did.
Superman, the newly rebooted comic book adventure from DC Studios, flew to $122 million in its first weekend of release. The Last Son of Krypton took a massive bite out of ticket sales for Universal's Jurassic World Rebirth, which added $40 million in its second week of release. Third place went to F1 the movie, with $13 million in its third lap around the track. Deborah Valentine, Fox News.
See, I wouldn't mind going see F1, especially in like IMAX.
Yeah.
But it's the typical, it's the young, driver versus Brad Pitt, the old driver.
Right.
And, you've seen it like a million times, except for the F1 cars and the big screen.
Yeah, I saw President Trump posted a picture of himself as Superman. Did you see that?
I did.
And I can see it, except the part where he can fit into a phone booth to change. He's got a few pounds on him right now, and that probably is not. None of us fit into a phone booth. I mean, what is a phone booth? Some people ask. There you go. Well, we got a lot more coming your way. We're going to go over all the headlines at 7:05 this morning and get at some of the things like our question of the day, all here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where right now it is 7 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show, brought to you by Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. 130 plus attorneys serving you in so many different areas. Why don't you check them out today at barley.com, our presenting sponsor each and every day. I wanted to get some of the top headlines this morning, and one of them had to do with our question of the day. And I asked him that question of the day, your thoughts about what happened back in February. I guess it was it was Pam Bondi, who was asked about the Epstein files and about a list of clients. One of the things when President Trump was elected is they said they wanted him to, answer the question about the so-called list that's out there of people who were clients of Jeffrey Epstein, the guy who was the child pornographer, owned his own island and flew a lot of people around in jets and all that kind of stuff. President Trump was actually friends with Jeffrey Epstein at one point in time. In fact, they only live a few houses away from each other on Ocean Avenue right there in West Palm Beach. And so the president, he was at parties and that kind of thing at Mar-a-Lago. So there's not a question about whether he knew him. And to this time, there's not been any evidence that President Trump was ever involved in any of this kind of stuff. So I'll put that to bed right away. However, what happened in February was that Pam Bondi came up before, I guess it was a House committee, I guess she was asked about
news. Yeah.
She was asked by a news person, what about the Epstein file, the list of these clients? And she said, well, I have them on my desk. Essentially, that's what she said. Now, they come back later on, they said they're not going to release any more stuff on Epstein. And, of course, he died in prison. And there is no list. There is no list. Well, now imagine, and I don't care if you're right, left, Republican, Democrat. I don't care if you're a MAGA person, not a MAGA person. When someone says they have something, all of a sudden said they don't. Is there anybody who does not have their red antennas go up a little bit and say, what the heck's going on?
Well, you mixed metaphors.
Yeah, thank you very much. I loved it, too, and it was actually very good. I got you thinking on a whole lot of different levels.
Yes.
So the president writes out here in Truth Social, and I'm reading directly from Truth Social today, what's going on with my boys and in some case gals, he said. They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. Wrong on this. She's doing a lousy job, Mr. President. That's me. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. Sorry, we're on one team, United States of America. We have a perfect administration. The talk of the world and selfish people are trying to hurt it all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. We are giving publicity to files written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and criminals of the Biden administration who conned the world with the Russia hoax. Might not disagree with you on that, Mr. President. Intelligence agents, the laptop from hell, and more. They created the Epstein files just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me. Stop there. The Epstein files they were asked about of his attorney general, who said she had them. So they didn't create that. She said they had them. Why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement and me, why didn't they use it? Which is a great point. They would have if they'd had any such thing. They haven't even given up on the John F. Kennedy or Martin Luther King Jr. files. No matter how much success we had securing the border, and he goes into a whole thing about all the things they've done. But the point being, they're not releasing these, and they're not giving a solid answer to the end. And people want that. And I don't care who the president is, whether it's Donald Trump. Remember Richard Nixon said there's nothing to look at here, had the Saturday Night Massacre where he wiped out the files in the Justice Department. You can't do that. And people are upset, and this is not going away. This is a story that I don't care if you like Trump, hate Trump, whatever you want to do. Let's just talk about common sense. This is a story when you don't give a proper answer, when you go and say, stop talking about it because I'm saying to stop talking about it, it's not going away. Right, Mark? I mean, I really think this is one that's going to be hanging out there. And it's the conservative movement and the MAGA people who are supporting the president, as I hope we all are. But the point being, they're pushing to get an answer because this is one of the things that President Trump said they get an answer for when he got elected. And that's one of the points that's to be made here.
Well, and he used it to say that the Democrats, they don't want to release it because there's something bad in there. Well, you could do that right now.
Yeah.
I think part of the problem is terminology. I think when you say a list, from the research I did over the weekend, there isn't a master list.
Right.
There's not a master list. But Epstein did keep little books and with people's names in it. And some of them were black, some of them were blue, but they were all those. Do you remember those little? It doesn't say address, but like a little address.
I used to have those.
Yes, the little tiny one, and he obviously.
Although
filled,
nobody's clamoring for my list, by the way. So,
yes, right. But he filled, I guess, at least a couple of these, and there was a trial. Ghislaine Maxwell. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name.
Ghislaine Maxwell.
She was his right-hand woman.
Well, kind of a girlfriend and also a procurer, if you will, of, shall we say, young talent to come to his house and all these various places.
She was involved and, interestingly enough, is the only person
in prison
who went to prison for this. And
well, he went, but he didn't do that well there.
They did, and that's also part of this. So she's in prison. They did charge Epstein.
Right.
He got a real, I think it was him or maybe one of his other friends got a real sweetheart deal. I think it was Epstein.
Well, he did when he was in Florida. That was before he got caught at the end where he could go home.
That's right.
For a year, he'd go home. He'd do whatever he wanted to during the day, and they'd go in there and stay overnight.
Yes, I believe I think the U.S. attorney was not real pleased that this, but where did that come from?
Yeah.
And I think that was when Trump was.
No, it was not.
Oh, was it?
Trump was not yet president.
So it was Obama?
It was, I'm not sure who the president was at that time, to be
I think it was before. I think it was before Trump, so it would have been Obama,
right?
But
it was a deal that Florida made with him,
right?
And so what people are thinking right now, maybe President Trump's not involved, but maybe there are some high-powered people who were involved. I mean, we know Prince Andrew was there. They've had pictures of him, and of course they've tried to say, well, they were doctored up. Well, that's why the royal family has dropped him from all official functions. You don't see Prince Andrew at Wimbledon this last weekend. He's not hanging out.
I knew it. I forgot one part. The other part is the Wired magazine, which is a pretty well respected tech magazine. They went through some of the data that they had or that had been presented, and I think from Bondi and the DOJ, and it was the video of the cell,
right,
and of Epstein's cell, and her explanation is that it was an antiquated system, and that once a day it would rewind and start over again, and she said that process took a minute, and that's why a minute is missing from the tape.
Yeah.
But then, is she saying that the tape says that it doesn't have him killing? He waited until...
You know what people want? People want answers they understand. They want an answer that says, okay, if you and I say, okay, what color is that over there? Well, that's blue. Okay, that there it is. They want to have something they can trust and they can say, okay, that ends. I understand now what you're saying. That's what we need. And they're not getting that just yet. By the way, the president also had an injunction put on him by a district judge again, which, of course, we thought the Supreme Court was ending some of that, but the district judges are still going to push it, and they're going to push injunctions out there, which I'm in disagreement with, by the way, when you can put it national injunctions, as I am with presidents trying to end natural-born citizenship with executive orders. So on both ends, I'm in disagreement with both, but the president, I don't know how many of you know this, there is only one place in the entire Constitution or the amendments where you can find anything about citizenship, and that one place is in the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. And the 14th Amendment very simply says something right in the beginning, and it's this. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. All persons born or naturalized in the United States are subject to the jurisdiction thereof. I think I was doing a radio show in Baltimore at WBAL over the weekend. I get into a back and forth on this that was fascinating. People talk about what they'd like to have happen and so forth. I said, I understand what you'd like to have happen. They were talking about the Federalist Papers. Have you ever read the Federalist Papers, Gary? Yeah, only 3 times. I say, it doesn't matter. The precedent says that if you were born in the United States.
Plain language.
Doesn't matter by whom. There are only a couple exceptions to this. Here are the exceptions to when you're born in the United States and you're not an automatic citizen of the United States. Here's the exceptions. Number one, if you are working for another country, okay, you come here, let's say you're representative from England, and you are here, and you're not necessarily at an embassy, which is, by the way, considered to be English soil. Any embassy you're at here, that is their soil. So you're not really a part of the United States. If a child was born here, you don't get to be a citizen automatically if you're born there as a result of that. The other one is if you're the children of people who are warring against the United States, you don't get to do that. If you're here and you're declaring war on it, then we have more problems that we have to worry about. But anyway, so that was the point. So the idea, if you came here of 2 illegal aliens right now and they have you in the country, you are, if you are born here, a citizen of the United States. Okay, now that's the way it presently is. Now the president wants to change that. In fact, he wants to wipe that out. Well, I don't think an executive order is allowed to do that. I think they're going to find that to be, and it has not yet come before the Supreme Court. And when it does, I think the Supreme Court, even right now with a conservative group, will wipe that out. They will say no, because that is something that Congress and the people of the United States through their state legislatures do in passing an amendment. 2/3 of Congress, 3/4 of the state legislatures. So I don't think the president's going to be able to do that. So what he's trying to do now is he's trying to change it and say, well, if you have one parent who is a citizen, that's okay. If neither parent's a citizen, they're not natural born. So the president's trying to change a concept that we came up with back in 1865. This was part of the 3 amendments, 13, 14, and 15, that dealt with taking slaves and making them into citizens of the country, which obviously was a big thing. And people say, well, see, that's all that was about. No, it has been used as the precedent since then for if you come into this country in some way, you become a citizen because you're born on this soil. Now, I don't know if that was the intention. I don't know, however that went. But the point being, that is what the facts are, ladies and gentlemen. That's what has happened. Now, should we change that? Well, that would be up to Congress and the people, I think, and not just one person. I'm opposed to one person being able to say, well, I'm here for 4 years and I'm going to change this whole thing. You can't do that. And I think the Supreme Court will bear that out. On the other hand, there's a district judge who put the injunction on this, and what's going to happen positively out of this is the Supreme Court will come in, slap him down again, and they'll have to make a ruling. And that's what's going to happen out of this whole thing.
Here's what's interesting about that, though. It's my understanding, again, I'm not a lawyer, but I think the judge used what the Supreme Court did, because the Supreme Court didn't rule in their last comment on this case. They didn't rule on whether it was what Trump was trying to do was unconscionable,
correct,
unconstitutional.
Which would have made it easier.
Right. That would have just decided the whole question, and we could have skipped all of this. But instead, what they did was they looked at the narrow area of district judges, nationwide injunctions, and who would have standing. Well, this judge looked at that, and you could even call it
from New Hampshire, right? Judge LaPlante, I think it's his name. Yeah.
George W. Bush, I believe, or one of the Bushes put him on the court or nominated him for the court. But what he did was he picked out, because the Supreme Court the Supreme Court said you had to have a class,
right,
in order for the class action. Well, the judge says, well, how about current children born under this and future children?
Yeah.
So that could be a protected class. They would have standing. So the judge did exactly what the Supreme Court asked to be done.
We'll see how that all gets dealt with this week. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. And finally, while we're on the Trump part of our program today, 1 year tomorrow that he was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania at that rally. And of course, 6 agents went down last week because of negligence in their responsibilities. But how did that change Donald Trump? How did that change the whole look at Donald Trump? Big question there. You can maybe text our show with your answers to that, 833-478-4729. Don't forget, you can also watch our podcast on YouTube later today at WOYK on YouTube. And Just a Voice on Main Street. I have a whole bunch of new interviews up there on Just a Voice on Main Street on YouTube. So if you'd like to see those, they're about 25 to 30 minutes in length, one-on-one with people I find interesting right here in York. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more here on The Gary Sutton Show at 7:19 on a Monday morning.
Fox Sports Update.
Swing and a miss. This magical run hits 10 in a row. The Red Sox sweep Tampa Bay 4-1 the final.
On New England Sports Network, the Red Sox beat the Rays 4-1. Boston on a current run like no other team.
How How about this? Into the break. The Red Sox, the hottest team in the game. And for the first time since July of 18, they've won 10 straight.
On Nesson, Boston third place in the AL East entering the All-Star break, 3 games behind the division-leading Blue Jays. Toronto lost Sunday 6-3 to the Athletics. The Yankees, second to the AL East, lost 4-1 to the NL Central leading Cubs, who were a half game behind the Dodgers for the best record of the National League. One day after Los Angeles snapped its 7-game losing streak, the Dodgers won their second game in a row, beat the Giants in 11 innings 5-2. Hottest team in the National League into the All-Star break, the Milwaukee Brewers. They won their 7th in a row Sunday, 8-1 over the Nationals. Starting pitcher Freddie Peralta improved his record to 11-4. Reds manager Terry Francona became the 13th Major League manager to win 2,000 regular season games. Francona's Cincinnati Reds scored a 4-2 win over the Rockies. The Royals beat the Mets 3-2 on Nick Lofton's walk-off single in the 9th inning. The Mariners doubled up the Tigers 8-4 to complete a sweep of Detroit, which still has the best record in the majors by 1 game over the Dodgers. In 10 innings, the Guardians beat the White Sox 6-5. Rangers over the Astros 5-1. Same score, Diamondbacks beat the Angels. Marlins waxed the Orioles 11-1. The Phillies got by the Padres 2-1. Same score, Pirates over the Twins snapped an 8-game losing streak for Pittsburgh on a 9th inning ground out by Spencer Harwitz. In a game delayed over 4 hours by rain, the Cardinals outlasted the Braves 5-4. You can download the Fox Sports Podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you download your favorite podcasts. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
Are you looking to have a party right now? Do you need a tent to rent? Do you need some party stuff? Do you need a whole lot of things to have a great party? Then I've got a place for you to go. I call it Party Central, but you might call it Harvey's Rental. They've been around here since 1970, and I'll tell you what, they have the most to rent underneath one roof. And if you're looking to have a big party starting with maybe a great tent to rent, get a lot of people underneath there, and then all the various party supplies that go with it, Harvey's Rental is the place to go. They've also got all kinds of brand new things like the Boss Machine that can go out there and work on floors and concrete and so forth. They got 20 by 20, 20 by 30 tents to rent, all kinds of canopies out there for you. Great for shade. You just give them a call at 717-845-2789, and Harvey's Rental is ready to help you. They have the most to rent underneath one roof. I was telling you about this all-new rental item. It's the Boss Machine. It can be used on wood and concrete, and it runs on a standard 110V, okay? So there you go. I mean, you got all kinds of things, maybe like a steel product in stock now, equipment, accessories, and parts, even like a front loader if you need to do a job outside. But then they've got mowers and edgers and all kinds of things that have that great steel name on them. Find out about what Harvey's can do to you or for you. Chances are, if you don't have it, Harvey's probably does. Harvey's Rental is located at 1409 South George Street, right here in New York. You give them a call today. Jen Harvey and the good people are waiting for your call at 717-845-2789. They're open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. They are closed on Sundays, but they are outstanding. They've been part of our York community for so long, and if you need something, chances are Harvey's has it. Harvey's Rental, the most to rent under one roof. Tell them Gary Sutton sent you today, or give them a call at 717-845-2789, or go to harveysrental.com. WOYK News Time, 727.
So just a quick update. It is Shark Awareness Day. I don't think I've ever seen a shark like in the Susquehanna.
No,
so we're
yet.
okay. International Nude Day.
I don't know what you do with that. I know what some people might do with it, but I'm not suggesting.
I don't have a fence in the backyard. Can't like run around and then run back inside.
Well, there are people that are, whatever.
Maybe I'll just run around the house is that every day?
I don't know. Anyway, by the way, the guy that won Wimbledon this year is a sinner. Aren't we all?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, Yannick Sinner.
A red-headed Italian.
Yeah, a red-headed Italian guy. And so he won Wimbledon.
Yeah, he beat Alcaraz pretty good. And then the women on Saturday. Swiatek, she just... I think, she's a good player. I don't want to take anything away from her, but her American opponent, Anna Samova,
right?
She didn't even win a game.
Right.
I mean,
2-6-0, two goose eggs. Yeah, they got shut out. It was amazing.
She was crying and very emotional.
Yeah.
But,
there's
your big break. You're in the final, and what do?
You got seen, and you got shut out. And I have a great philosophy of life.
Yeah.
There's a butt whooping waiting for every one of us around the corner.
There you go.
And hers was that day. And like the Rebs on Friday night, they got beat 19-12 Friday night. Now, normally you score 12 runs in a game, you're winning. You got beat by 7. And by a team that had scored 16 on you a week before that. So 35 runs over 2 games, you think, man, Rebs got to solve this thing. Well, they did. The last 2 nights, 7-4. And last night they laid their own little whooping on Staten Island, 15-2, and they look good in both games. No errors in either game. Home runs, manufactured runs, just good fielding. I mean, and great pitching. Both pitchers went in, I think, finished 6 innings, which is a really good one here. And I was really impressed in both games with the Rebs. And they have a break today. In fact, today is the Brooks Robinson Golf Tournament at 12 o'clock out at Heritage Hills, which I'll be participating in, and Darrell Henry will be too. Darrell Henry's our next guest coming up here at 7:35. He'll tell you how he practiced for today and a little bit about where the Rebs stand right now and his assessment on the season to date as we start the second half. The Rebs now tie for first with Lancaster in the second half with a record of 4-2 and still one of the best records in the league. By the way, do want to remind you, Pack the Park coming up on August 7th right here at Wellspan Park. Pack the Park for kindness. Get to kindnessworldwide.org and check it out. Pack the Park is coming up there. You can get your tickets right on there as well. And Mark is sending me a note. Oh, and I do want to remind you that this hour is being brought to you by the Bison Farm, where, by the way, I stopped by on Saturday and I saw Tupper out there, who's the owner, along with his wife, Tessa. And it's a local family-owned farm in Mount Wolf. Now, they have spots at the Central Market and also at the New Eastern Market on Fridays. And I'll tell you what, you need to stop by there. I did on Saturday and bought myself 2 4-packs of burgers. I love their burgers. Bison meat is so sweet and rich and good, and it's healthy for you, too. You can find out more about it at thebisonfarm.com or go to thebisonfarm.com/whybison, and you'll find out all the reasons why. But they carry a full range of products from ground bison and burgers to steaks and roasts to even my favorite, the bison brisket. Healthy red meat, and it's there for you. Central Family Restaurant and Augie's, by the way, up in Central Market, both offer bison burgers from their product. You can buy their products through New Eastern Market and Central Market, or check them out at thebisonfarm.com. The proud sponsors of this hour right here on the Gary Sutton Show. We take a break. We come back with Darrell Henry next at 7:35. Wasn't this in the Beverly Hills Cop?
Yes.
Yeah.
1985 bumper music, Glenn Fry.
Yeah.
The heat is on, and I'm telling you, it's hot in this studio.
I'm comfortable. You know me. You can't get hot enough for me. I'm bad like that.
I'm just wondering if it's because Kevin was here and there was just a lot of hot air in here.
Oh, stop! Now Kevin was nice. He was nice.
I'm not saying just him. Me too.
Well, this is the Gary Sutton Show, the main street of York County, and right here on WOYK, brought to you by Barley Snyder Law Firm. Now, Barley Snyder features a wide variety of practice areas, industry groups, and service teams geared toward one thing, just one thing, helping you achieve your business goals. Why don't you check them out right now at barley.com. Here in York, they're at 100 East Market Street. You can give them a call at 717-846-8888. They are open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this hour, this 7 o'clock hour, being brought to you by, yes, the Bison Farm. Local family farm in Mount Wolf. Tupper and Tessa own it. And I'm telling you what, this young couple does a great job. They keep about 40 head of bison there. But if you would like to taste some great meat, Central Family Restaurant and Augie's both offer bison burgers from their products. Stop down there and check them out. Augie loves to make the bison burgers. He really does. I stopped down there on Saturday, and he has some of the great bison burgers of all time. Then I stopped right next door and saw Tupper and picked up 2 4-packs of bison burgers. The meat is so sweet and rich. You'll love it. You can buy their products through their market stands at New Eastern Market and Central Market. They carry a full range of products from ground-based bison and burgers to steaks and roasts. And yes, hear the angels, briskets. TheBisonFarm.com is where you need to go. Go to TheBisonFarm.com today and check out their website. And they are the sponsors of this hour here on the Gary Sutton Show. And speaking of this hour, we are so pleased to welcome in. He's not been here in a while because he's been on the road constantly. He is Daryl Henry, who is the voice of the York Revolution, our general manager here. We have to kiss the ring every time we see him. He is known as the Grand Poobah of radio here in our room, and he is here this morning with us. Good morning, Daryl. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. You took that all in stride. You were very humble about how you accepted that.
Yeah. I've come to expect it. So, well done.
So bad. Anyway,
you don't have to kiss the ring this time.
You get a day off today, and you get to go out to the golf course today. And I was telling people a little bit about it this morning, about your explanation to me over the weekend about your practice session you had in North Carolina when you were down there at High Point, and the moment you had yourself to practice and have a little dinner, and you're going out today. You have big expectations today, don't you?
I do. I'm a little concerned, though. This is no joke. I can't make this up. So you left the stadium last night, and probably 30 seconds later, I'm starting to pack things up.
Right.
And I felt something pull in my lower back.
Really?
And
where have we heard this before, Mark? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to play. Oh, I'm going to play.
If only because I'm shaming you right now publicly.
No. And you're not the first that has done that, because I confided. All right. I confided in a member of my group that this happened. But this getting old stuff sucks.
Yeah. Well, please tell me about it. What are you now, like 40 or something like that?
Yeah. You'll have to show me that one stretch.
The stretch I was showing you yesterday in the booth.
The one stretch.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll...
It's a good stretch. I'll tell you what, I will go home and bring my pounder of the back with you today. Yeah. I'll bring that with
Icy hot.
Icy hot.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. No, I have a thing. It's like a jackhammer, and you put it on your back, and it really it does, and any other part of your body, it really helps you. Well, maybe not every part of your body, but there's most parts. We were talking about today is National Nude Day. We don't want to get into any of that stuff. So, but anyway,
we'll stick to the part that's in question.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Now, where is the pain here, Daryl?
Lower back.
Lower back. Yeah. This will help you.
Yeah.
This will help you.
Okay.
Yeah, I promise you. And by the time you get done with this, you'll be kissing the ring. So there it is. But now I was telling people the story the other night on the air yesterday, and we did want to talk about the Revs a little bit too. But you were telling me. You're telling me this story with a straight face yesterday, and you said, "Hey, yeah, I was practicing. I went to Top Golf when I was down in High Point." And tell us a little bit about the practice session and the accompanying dinner that went with it, because I thought it was interesting.
Oh, sure, yeah. So, we had the day game in High Point on Wednesday, which I know I did nothing but complain about. The fact that they scheduled the day game in the middle, not the day that we were coming home, whatever. You do have to find the positives in life sometimes. So had we not had the day game on Wednesday, I wouldn't have had this great opportunity. So we found a Topgolf literally like 5 minutes away from where we stay, which is in Greensboro. And it looked like the plan was going to go up in smoke. I mean, it was the storms that we had here that night. I don't know what it was like here, but it was as intense as I've seen in a long time down there. But they don't close. It's covered, and I never felt unsafe. So anyway, three of us, we go in there, get a bay reserved. We have like an hour to wait. So
now, for the uninitiated out there, the bays are like hitting areas. You go in there, and it's like a little like a booth, and you go in, you can actually hit, and you have like a golf course sort of screen in front of you, and you can hit at it, or you have a practice range in front of you and hit at it, and they tell you how far you hit and stuff like that, just to give a little bit more meat to the bones. Go ahead, Darryl.
Yeah, it's like a driving range on steroids.
Right.
So we had like an hour to kill. So I'm thirsty, and and I'm a little hungry. So trying to watch my figure and mind my shape. I get a salad for dinner. That was a good choice. And, you need something to wash it down. So, I go to the nearest barmaid and say, hey, can I get a pitcher of beer? I'm going to be here for a while. And she says, sure. How many glasses would you like? And I said, just one.
Yeah.
And that was my dinner. Salad.
And a pitcher
what was the
of beer.
look on her face?
And I'm a picture of health.
Yeah,
so.
You are. I mean, you look good. I mean, you're keeping you're slim as you've always been, and so there you go. And it seems like two polar opposites to me. But what do I know? What do I know?
I think it's a balance. Everything in life is balanced. It wasn't just the practice round; it was the nutrition to get me ready for today. I think.
That was it. So you're ready today, powered by Bud Light or whatever it is. But it's. Darryl Henry powered. Maybe we could do that now. Darryl Henry powered by Bud Light. But anyway, it's no. It's. But anyway, so the Revs have had a little bit of a tough going lately. They won a couple games down in High Point, coming from behind. They've been getting behind a lot here late in the first half of the season, even though they won the first half. And yesterday even got behind again. But then the last two games, Friday night was a debacle. And you were saying on the air, you said, I don't want to make up excuses, but we got back and you were saying, I was listening to the second hour of your show when I was going home on Friday morning, which is kind of depressing when you think about it. Not listening to our show, but coming home listening to our show if you've been driving all night. And the Revs played like that Friday night. I mean, they scored 12 points, they lose by 7. So everybody's going out of the stadium thinking, oh, my gosh, there are errors, and it just looked terrible. But they come back on Saturday and Sunday with some lockdown performances that were unbelievable and really well played in the way they've been playing most of the first half. So where are we at in the season right now? You've seen every single game. Where are we at in the season so far with the York Revolution?
We're in a really interesting spot. It was after they clinched. I think there's a little bit of a natural letdown because you're in heightened focus for weeks on end, games on end to finish the job. So I think it's natural. So they lost, I think it was 5 out of 7. Pitching wasn't very good. And there were some reasons. I mean, each guy struggled for their own reason. It's not like they weren't trying. Things just happened. But they really turned it around with those games at High Point. That's a huge testament to who the team is. They were down in the 9th inning on Wednesday, down in the 8th inning Thursday, came back, won an extra inning against a really good team. Again, dealing with the long travel. It was hot as could be, playing on turf down there. So no reason, or no wonder that the team is tired. We are in the middle of probably our toughest travel week or stretch or whatever. So anyway, come home Friday. I felt bad for the fans that wanted to see a good performance. And they did a bunch of uncharacteristic things, walks, errors, mental mistakes. And, I framed it to Rick on the pregame. I mean, I even said to him, I didn't want to harp on this on the air, but is that a byproduct of fatigue? And he's like, absolutely. We've been a tired team for a few weeks. You could really see it last night. So anyway, another huge testament to this team is the way that they bounced back the last 2 days, because they played about as clean as could be. It was total 180. So I think we're in a really interesting spot where they won the first half. They literally don't have to win another game, but they're going to. So don't worry about that. But I think in the next week, maybe this week, we're going to come out of that really tough road stretch, and hopefully you'll see kind of the energy won't have to be forced as much. Hopefully we're kind of through that tough spot. So I think we withstood it, and hopefully we just continued, honestly, doing what they've been doing, which is playing really well-rounded baseball. Hopefully pitch a little bit better.
Right.
And I think they will. Like I said, there have been a handful of guys that have struggled each for their own reason and kind of working through those things.
And for people who haven't seen High Point play, the champions of the South Division, they're coming into town tomorrow night, Wednesday night, and Thursday morning at 11 a.m. For, I believe, Campers Day. And so people can see High Point, which is the other big team with a big record right now that the Revs beat 2 out of 3 last week. They'll be in town here over the next 3 days, starting tomorrow, and that's going to be a lot of fun for people to see. But I did want to mention today the Brooks Robinson Golf Tournament. We live on Brooks Robinson Plaza here where we do our show every morning. Brooks Robinson's synonymous with York Revolution baseball. Talk about why so much Brooks Robinson, the great third baseman, some would say the greatest of all time. I would be one of them. Your thoughts on that? About a minute left.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, really, the vision, this is before I knew anything about it. I mean, I was fortunate to be hired when the team started in 2007, but as you know, for years and years before that, the effort was there to bring the team to York, and at the time, I didn't totally know everything that was going on as a York resident and as a kid. But if it wasn't for his vision, he was part of the ownership group. But it was really his vision, to put a minor league, a independent MLB partner league team in the town where his pro career started. So, if it wasn't for what Brooks did and his backing and being such an influential part of that ownership group, this great thing that has literally become life for many of us. Certainly for me, it's my life, or a huge part of my life. Not the only thing in my life, but it's a huge part of it and has been for almost 20 years now. It would have never happened if not for his vision. So, and I really thought about that when he passed, and it's a shame that it took that to kind of remind everybody.
Right.
Because he would come to games incognito. You'd never know he was there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's so humble and modest.
He sat in with you and I back in the day doing some play-by-play for like 3 innings, and just the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. And, of course, passed away now, 2 years plus ago. And, yeah. So, anyway, the Brooks Robinson event out at Heritage Hills today. That's at 12 o'clock. Kind of celebrating his name, but celebrating Revs baseball as well. I understand the tarp crew is going to be out there in case the rain comes. They're going to put a tarp over the court. Your favorite group of people here at the stadium. Yeah.
Get some practice in, get a little tarp practice. And I think it benefits York City Little League today, and I think that was important to Brooks also.
There you go. That is important. Little League benefits today by all the people who have signed up to play in the tournament, so it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be out there. Daryl's going to be out there, most importantly, and you get a chance to see what the results are of salad, a beer, and a bunch of practice swings with a bad back. Daryl, have a great day, and we always love hearing you on the radio, love working with you on the radio as well, and thanks for all you do, man. We really appreciate what you do for the community.
Thank you guys as well. That's kind. Look forward to a big display today.
And we'll expect a check in the mail for all the nice stuff we just said. So anyway, thanks so much.
It's coming. It might bounce, but it's coming.
Daryl Henry here, the voice of the Revolution. Have a great day, Daryl. See you out at the course.
All right, you too, Gary. Thanks.
Daryl right here on WOYK, and he's right. It is his life. That's what he does. I mean, constantly. If you knew the number of work, he's missed 2 games since 2007. 2 games, period. He was married here at the stadium. It wasn't married here, but he had the reception here at the stadium. He was married down at York College. But, So this is part of his life. I mean, I swear to heavens, he all but stood here and the stadium went up around him. But great guy to work with, and great for the community of York and all that he does. And he has become a voice of sports here in York, not just on baseball, but football, basketball, a whole lot of other stuff as well. We take a break. We come back with more here. News under the radar. What else do we have this morning, Mark?
You may not know that it is Mac and Cheese Day. We will get some facts and figures.
And we'll do that when we come back here on the Gary Sutton Show, where it is 7:50. I love this song. This is Prince, isn't it?
It is not. It sounds like him, but it's a one-hit wonder group called Ready for the World.
That's right.
Oh, Sheila. Everybody
thinks it's Prince.
Yeah, everybody also, you have to have a girl's name in a song. I was watching a clip from Richard Marx, and he said, I always felt this pressure to do a song with a girl's name in it. So this was their effort, Oh Sheila. By the way, he had written a song, but he didn't have a girl's name for it. There were 4 syllables. He needed a girl's name, 4 syllables, and he was looking for something that would, go into the song, but he had no idea what it was. And he met, I think it was a stewardess on one of his flights, and when she told him her name, I think it was Angelia is how she pronounced it.
Right.
And the rest is history.
By the way, this hour being brought to you by the Bison Farm, local family farm in Mount Wolf, owned by Tessa and Tupper Zverdick. And I tell you what, a great farm. And I've known them for a long time. And if you've never had bison meat, ladies and gentlemen, rich, sweet, wonderful, healthy. If you want to test it out, go to Central Family Restaurant or Augie's right up there at the Central Market, which I talk about all the time. They offer bison burgers. You have a bison burger, I'll tell you what, you won't go back to regular burgers. They're so good. And you can buy their products through the market stands at New Eastern Market and Central Market. Yeah, they have all of the full range of products from ground beef and burgers to steaks and roasts to my favorite, which is the bison brisket, which I make regularly. And I'm telling you what, it is really, really good. Check them out at thebisonfarm.com. It's the healthy red meat. And there's a link to the website at bisonfarm.com/whybison to tell you about all the great nutritional things about bison. Check out the Bison Farm at Central Family Restaurant Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and also over at the New Eastern Market on Fridays, thebisonfarm.com. Tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. Mark?
Speaking of food, today is Mac and Cheese Day.
Macaroni and cheese is often called the ultimate comfort food, and it's been around a long time. While it has roots in Roman times, it went through several changes before eventually making its way to the American colonies, where it's been a culinary mainstay ever since. To celebrate the dish, some restaurants are offering deals today, including Panera, which is not only offering a $2 discount for its My Panera members, it's also introduced mac and cheese flavored lip balms. One is a golden mac and cheese scented balm, while the other invokes the scent of baked bread. Savory meets self-care. To add it to your beauty regimen, go to Panera's website or get it on Amazon. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Really?
I would say bacon. Bacon would be a good
I
mix.
don't need lip balm that tastes like something. I just, lip balm protects. Keep things separate here, for heaven's sakes. Come on, you're making it too complicated for me.
So, you remember last week it was Amazon Prime Days.
I do remember.
Did you take part in all?
I did not.
Me neither.
No.
But an unexpected person did take part.
In a viral TikTok video posted by the boy's mom, a stunned dad is seen confronting his son, who casually ordered 7 toy cars from Amazon.
5 years old.
Spending over $3,000 with another $700 in the cart before being caught. The clip then cuts to the Amazon order that reads like a little kid's Christmas list to Santa, prompting one commenter to remark, "He took Christmas in July to a whole new level." The parents were said to be in the process of explaining to the bank and to Amazon what happened and looking for a full return of the items purchased. Experts say kids racking up charges through apps and online shopping is becoming more common and also more costly. Ted Lindner, Fox News.
Now, there's no truth to the story that when the kid was asked why he paid so much, he said, "I was trying to beat the tariffs, Daddy." No, that's not. I don't think kids are that deep yet. But
there is a new cost.
Right.
If you still do this, and this has nothing to do with tariffs going up.
Postage rates are going up. The U.S. Postal Service is raising prices this week, and that means a first-class stamp, the regular kind of stamp, will go up from 73 cents to 78 cents. International letter postage increases from $1.65 to $1.70. The rate hikes were proposed earlier this year, citing falling revenues and higher operating costs, and are part of a series of rate increases planned every 6 months through the end of 2027. A reminder that so-called forever stamps retain the value of current first-class postage no matter when or for how much they were purchased. Eben Brown, Fox News.
That's my stamp.
Yeah, and I have my Christmas stamps still around, so I use those. I know.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, it's not even Christmas this year. Anyway, when we come back, Major Joe Decree joins us at 8:05 here to talk about the world through the eyes of a vet. We'll talk about some of the Trump stuff, especially with Epstein, also natural-born citizenship. We'll hit some of the main stories this morning. And then Mark Hendrickson, former pitcher in the major leagues, talks about the All-Star game. Do we still need him? We have one tomorrow night, all here on the Gary Sutton Show, where it is 8 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show as we start our final hour here on a Monday morning. The Brooks Robinson Golf Tournament, which is helping York Little League, by the way, through the York Revolution. That's being played today out at Heritage Hills. I'll be out there. So will, as you heard a few moments ago, sadly, Darrell Henry with a hurt back will be playing. And, and he was...
I hope his vegan diet helps him.
His vegan diet, yeah. Yeah. By the way,
beer and salad.
Yeah, a beer. I'll have a salad and a pitcher of beer. Yeah, that made my day the other day. That whole story. I keep seeing that, and if you know Darrell, I mean, tells it deadpan face. I mean, not even a smile on it. By the way, our show brought to you by Barley Snyder Law Firm. You can find them at barley.com. Features a wide variety of practice areas, industry groups, and service teams geared toward one thing, which is helping you achieve your business goals. Why don't you check them out today at barley.com here in York? You can check out barley.com, see if they have an area that is there for you in terms of your business, and give them a call at 717-846-8888 and set up an appointment. They are open Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And again, they're right here at 100 East Market Street in York. And this hour, brought to you by Poblano's Tex-Mex Grill. That's exactly right. Poblano's Tex-Mex Grill is located right out there at 2150 White Street in York. And I'll tell you what, if you want to have some great Peruvian food, Spanish-type themed food, Latin food, Poblano Tex-Mex Grill is one of the best you're going to find in the area, owned and operated by Pablo Ayala and his fiancée, who is... they're just knocking it out of the park. They really are, and they do a wonderful job out there. Just putting things together. They really have great empanadas. Lachelle Rios is his fiance, by the way. I forgot to mention Lachelle's name. She'll shoot me, but she's the head chef of the New Eater. And one of the things, if you want something really different, ask for the sweet potato fries with a little bit of sea salt on them. Caramelized at a pan, Mark. I know you'd love this, and they're fantastic.
Sounds great.
They really are. But 2150 White Street, Suite 7, they have Taco Tuesday. If you get out there right now and you mention our name, the show, they'll give you a free drink with any of the entrees there. They have several different kinds of salsas. They got quesadillas, nachos, loaded fries, fajitas, tacos, the chicharron sandwich, which is a pork sandwich, which is unbelievable and a beautiful roll. And their rolls, by the way, have this real light sweetness to them that are really refreshing, really good. You're going to love it. They're open Mondays through Fridays, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. The only day they're closed is Sundays, or Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. The only day that's closed is on Sundays. So check them out today. You can go to Poblano's Tex-Mex Grill. They are right there in York on White Street out in the west side of town, 2150 White Street, suite number 7. You'll see it right on the outside with the Poblano's pepper, and they are a great place to go to. Anyway, welcome this morning, Major Joe Decree, retired now, veteran of Kosovo and Afghanistan and Iraq, and has been in intelligence with Quantico. Taught RO,
TC.
TC. I was thinking the letters
Reserve
mixed up.
Officers.
Whatever, yeah. ROTC right here in Millersville. He also has started a church. He is now a pastor, and he started a church where he talks the veterans' language in church. And he's with us live from Montana this morning. Good morning, Joe. How are you?
I'm good, Gary. What's up?
Let me ask you a question. I'm watching this whole Epstein business with the president, and they said they had a client list. Now they don't have a client list. And the president says, stop talking about it because I said to stop talking about it. And then the president, fighting over this whole natural-born right to being a citizen of the United States if you're born here, and trying to change that. But I'm not sure an executive order is what should be used to change an amendment that was done by the Congress and by the people of the United States. I wanted to ask you kind of a general question, and then I'll get into some of the specifics on some of these stories this morning. And, of course, the president shot a year ago tomorrow at Butler. And I want to get your take, as a guy who's fought for this country, as a guy who had presidents as commanders-in-chief, obviously every time that you represented our country somewhere, what do you want from a president? What are the things you expect from a president, and what are the things you don't expect from a president that you go out and serve under as a commander-in-chief?
Well, that's a great question. Let's see. I served under 2, 3, 4 presidents, maybe?
4 presidents, okay.
I actually got in the Reagan administration.
Okay.
Served under George H.W. Bush. That was a mixed bag. Served under Bill Clinton. Terrible commander-in-chief. Decent president.
Yeah.
George W. Bush, great commander-in-chief, not decent. Not a very good president. As the longer he went on, the worse it got. If he'd have done one term, we'd still be lauding him. And I stopped at President Obama because I'm like, I can't do this.
Okay.
So it's kind of, that's a great question. I expect leadership. I expect decisions that support the military and the defense.
Okay.
I didn't and wouldn't let my people, at least on the job, on duty, get into the politics of the thing.
Right.
Because, we need to be above the politics. Now, the military, actually, there was a market trend away from that in my last few years. I remember, some captains, in a group, between classes one day, at the Q course, stumping for John McCain and talking. And I'm like, dude, we are not allowed to do this. Like it is against regulations. Well, you got to support that. I'm like, we defend regardless of whom sits in the chair. I want, as a soldier, I want to be used to make a strong U.S. International presence. I think, making us weaker is not, it doesn't help anybody. The nice guy, the nice guy international politics is a failed model.
Yeah.
Woodrow Wilson, in my opinion, is a failure. The UN was not a good thing. It's a great idea
League
for
of
people
Nations,
sitting around the living room and talking about nice things. But in practice, it's one more layer of BS that everybody's got to deal with. And the UN as an organization of intervening in violence is not just a failed experiment, but just a horrible idea. So I like presidents that support America first, not to use a slogan, but and those are a mixed bag. Ronald Reagan, was very instrumental in professionalizing, especially the Army, to a significant degree. All Army officers above the rank of probably captain have, a master's degree. You're a very educated group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Most NCOs, most non-commissioned officers, by the time they're a senior non-commissioned officer, have at least an associate's degree. It's an extraordinarily educated group, which is funny because in intellectual circles, we're all told how dumb we are.
Right.
And it's like, oh, we're your worst nightmare. We're Neanderthals that understand your language and still think it's stupid. George H.W. Bush was a mixed bag. I was separated, when the wall came down, I was separated under George H.W. Bush. I was separated from active duty and had to go to the reserve system, which ends up being a huge blessing, but didn't really look like one for many years.
Right.
That was interesting. The notion that, okay, the Soviet Union came down, so we don't need a very big army anymore. I thought that weakened America greatly. I thought we had a chance to really push. Honestly, I would have done a push outward like China's doing now, like in Africa and places. All right, maybe we don't need these European bases. I might have abandoned Europe, moved to Central and Eastern Europe, as chasing the Soviet Union back, and then moved into other places we're not normally in, because we lead with our military first, whether people want to believe it or not. It's true. Diplomacy is only as good as the army that backs it.
Right.
And that's a hard, ugly fact of life. But I think presidents who get that do better, or we do better under those presidents. Bill Clinton actually understood that. He just didn't use the military very well. But he kept us out of some dumb military things. Like, he did not sign the Kyoto Treaty, which would have ended the use of landmines. But I think that's just dumb as hell.
Let me ask you this, our last 3 minutes that we have together this morning. that so you don't serve under Trump now, okay? But if you did, what's the good, the bad, the ugly there in a space of 3 minutes, if you can give it to us?
Well, the good, the bad, the ugly. The good is, if you're doing joint missions overseas, with our coalition and allied partners, and those are slight differences. Actually, they're not slight differences; they're market differences. So, for doing, you get a lot more respect with a guy like Trump. I was in the talk in Kosovo when George H.W. Bush was confirmed by the Supreme Court, and the Russians suddenly were afraid of us again.
Yeah,
that went from we're not worried about you guys. We showed up and you didn't invite us and you're not going to kick us out to, oh, this guy's in charge. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I get you a cup of coffee? It was actually like that in a moment.
Wow.
It was amazing to watch. So a guy like Trump helps me do my job a lot. A guy like George W. Bush actually does a lot. If you've got time for a quick story, I'll give you one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was sitting with a guy in Kosovo, a guy who had, true 1,000-mile stare. Guy had probably been in life his whole life. Or he's had been in life his whole life. A guy who'd been in war his whole life. He's an Afghan guy, and I needed to talk to him. And the CIA had him because, and they're paying him all kind of money, so he don't want to talk to me. I don't have the budget. So I had a copy of my orders in my pocket. And I pulled them out, and I said, well, I'm really disappointed here. I heard a lot of good things about you. What do you want me to tell the president when I go home? And he looks at me and goes, the president? And they loved George W. Bush back then. This was the early part of the war. And I pulled it out, and I showed him. I said, okay, these are my orders to be here. This is my name. This is Afghanistan. And I turned it over, and there was, an auto pen signature of, George W. Bush. I'm like, this is the president's signature. The president sent me to be here. What do you want me to tell the president? Because all I can tell him right now is, you don't want to talk. And boy, that guy sang like a canary. It was hilarious. So, a strong president helps me do that. I remember going through customs in some Arab country, and I have two passports. I have the tourist passport, and I have, the brown card, the official passport. And I'm going through, and I give him my blue passport, and I'm talking to the guy, and he's like, we have to go through your stuff. You have to go through this. And I looked at him, and it guy just pissed me off. His attitude was crappy. And I was there to see some, I was working with Jordanian Special Forces or somebody. So I, give him the brown card and be like, I'm sorry, I meant to give you this one.
Attitude reversal.
And what do you want me to tell General so-and-so when I see him? Because I'd love to be able to tell him he has friends at the airport. But if that's not possible, I'll simply leave your name out of that. And he just looked at me, oh, I'm so sorry. I did not, So, a strong president helps me do my job a lot, in a lot of little ways that you don't get, because most of the world, except for America, respects strength and at least respects a strong attitude, and does not respect not strength.
And that's where we have to end it for today, Joe. But that's I tell you what, it's a good way to end it. And I think you're right. I think they do respect strength, and they do understand that kind of thing. And that's something that's foreign to a lot of us here in our country. We think, oh, come on, if you talk nice to them, they'll be. And no, it doesn't always work like that. But we'll talk about that in coming weeks. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate all you've done, and looking forward to talking to you next week. Okay.
All right now. Bye.
Major Joe Decree retired now. Here on the Gary Sutton Show, as we take a look weekly through the eyes of a veteran, what the whole news world looks like and what's going on. And interesting stories there today. We'll take a break. We'll come back with more. Mark, what do we have going out ahead?
We are going to revisit yesterday's huge win here at Wellspent Park.
And news you might have missed, but I got it for you. I caught it. It almost got passed, but we got it for you here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. A little bit of fun news there at 8:18 on a Monday morning, the day of the Brooks Robinson Golf Tournament at Heritage Hills.
pitch, a swing and a fly ball to center. Jalen Davis backs up. He's got a beat on it, drifting over into deep left center, makes the grab, and that'll do it. And the Revs, after getting whooped on Friday night, rebound big time with wins the last 2 days to take the series. Today they do it in blowout fashion as they knock off the Ferry Hawks 15-2, the final score.
Well, if you weren't with us over the weekend, on Friday night, the Revs came back from High Point, got back that morning like around 8:30, 9 o'clock, got some sleep, came back out here to the stadium and lost promptly 19-12 that night in a ugly game. Although I will say this, Mark, they were down 14-4. And they scored 8 runs the one inning, came back to 14-12. Or 14-11, down 14-3. And they scored 8 runs, came back to 14-11. And then after that got blown out. But it was, I mean, they did show some moxie there. So Saturday you come out and you think, oh my gosh, They had a whole bunch of errors. They played awful last night. Ugh. And Darryl even said, I'm tired. He said, I can only imagine what these guys are on this trip back from North Carolina. It took overnight. So they come out and they have a 7-4 win Saturday night. Lockdown win, no errors, perfect fielding, some homers, some timely hitting.
You think the coach talked to him and said,
yeah.
We're better than this.
And Rick did say that. I mean, Rick doesn't pull any punches. He's really good, Rick Forney. So then yesterday they come out here and they go down 1-0 in the first inning. The guy hits the very first pitch for a home run. Very first pitch of the game. He was a 9th place hitter the night before, goes to first place hitter the next day, leadoff hitter, hits a home run. Next time up, he hits another home run for second pitch. But those are the only 2 runs that they could get the whole game, Staten Island, as J.C. Ramirez just shut them down. And the Revs win 15-2 yesterday. So they come back after this whooping on Friday night. And now you're saying, what 19-run game? I don't remember that. Because they had a defining game the next day. They showed their character. And I always believe that character wins championships. Talent wins games. Character wins championships. So they come out and win that game 7-4 in a really well-played game. And then yesterday, come out and just stomp them 15-2. And it was just constant the whole game. No errors again. Some home runs mixed in. Some great fielding. And the pitching was dynamite. J.C. Ramirez yesterday was outstanding. And so both the starting pitchers from the day before and yesterday went 6 innings, and then the rest of it, the Revs were just able to go on home and look really, really good. So they get back with High Point again tomorrow night, who comes into town for their only visit here this year. They are the champions of the first half of the Southern Division, and the Revs beat them 2 out of 3 last week and 2 come-from-behind wins. So hopefully we get tired of coming from behind and start just get out in front right away and pound some of these guys. But today, some of the Revs will be up at Heritage Hills as part of the Brooks Robinson Golf Tournament. And then tomorrow they're back at it. And tomorrow night, Darryl and Ronnie will be on the air at 6:10. 6:30 is the opening pitch. And then I'll be there Wednesday and Thursday morning, 11 o'clock. Remember, Thursday morning they have an 11 a.m. game. So if you're retired or you're just out and about and you want to get around to a game, 11 a.m. Thursday morning, they're fun games to be at. It's
Grandpa,
Camper's Day. Camper's Day, yeah. So be a lot of fun.
So let's talk a little bit about health on this Monday morning.
Mattel recently releasing a Barbie doll with type 1 diabetes. She's wearing a continuous glucose monitor on her arm, measuring her blood sugar levels. This Barbie also wears an insulin pump and has a trendy purse to carry supplies and snacks she might need. And she's wearing a stylish blue polka dot dress, a nod to global symbols that recognize diabetes awareness. Mattel celebrating the launch of the new doll by creating a one-of-a-kind Barbie inspired by diabetes advocate and model Lila Moss, daughter of Kate Moss. Lila Moss says she thinks it's amazing that children with diabetes can see themselves represented in the doll. House Call for Health on Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Oh, wait, hello? Are you there?
You know, I guess I'm wondering, is that really... I'm not trying to be cold, and I'm definitely not talking down any of the diseases, but this idea of, having an oxygen mask or stuff in your nose or diabetes, Barbies, can't you just... I don't know. Does reality go too far sometimes in putting these kind of things together on toys? I'm just asking a question. I don't really have an answer.
Yeah, it's just feeling. I guess they think, and they probably have done
some surveys,
research, to figure out how to sell more dolls.
Right.
And what sells is when people feel they are being represented. Here's the question, though. At some point, you're going to cross over. So there's every kind of doll that you can imagine.
Right.
We have the professionals. We have the scientists, the space. We have the sicknesses, all those. So, next year we're going to be doing maybe the son who is, or the boy, a young adult, Ken doll, who is living in mother's basement and hasn't had a haircut for, you know what I mean? It's like at some point you're going to be down at the bottom of the list. And
it's kind of like the Crayola box, got extra colors over the years. I got it. Okay.
Yeah,
so
you're just a troublemaker. That's the thing.
That's me. That's me.
So
news. We got some
ahead.
news you
Do
might
it.
have missed. Yeah, we've checked this out, and some people like this segment, even though it's not necessarily true, but it does take some of the topics of the day and then turns into a different look. And for example, Gavin Newsom called President Trump scum over the weekend. So President Trump called Newsom garbage, and then the hair salon made both of them leave. So that was, they had to both get out of there. They both worry about the hair a lot. Let's see. President Trump threatened to revoke Rosie O'Donnell's citizenship. She's been living in Ireland since the president was elected. Finally, he does something Republicans and Democrats support. So I think that's it's really good. Tijuana set the record for the world's largest margarita.
Ooh.
And now Pete Hegseth wants to be deported. So that's he's been known to have a sip or two. Mark mentioned this story this morning. The price of a postage stamp. You like that one, did you?
Yeah.
The price of a postage stamp.
I want to join them.
There you go. Yeah, the world's biggest margarita. Pete, move over. I want to sip. Yeah. So the price of a postage stamp jumped to 78 cents, which is also the average age of a person who uses a postage stamp.
Yeah,
so,
pretty much.
That's all. We
I
don't
bought
give it
a
up.
roll, and I think they last like a year close
I
to
told you, I'm still using the Christmas ones, so there you go. Walmart recalled water bottles for exploding caps.
I saw that.
Because their only explosions their customers should experience are meth labs. So no, that's not right. Job-seeking sites Indeed and Glassdoor cut 1,300 jobs, or as Indeed and Glassdoor look at it, they created 1,300 new customers. So that's what they did. Yeah,
I mean, you
Indeed,
turn it
you
around.
do. Yeah.
Yes.
So a new study shows that people who have sex fewer than a dozen times a year appear more likely to have shorter lifespans. In other words, if you're not getting screwed, then you're getting screwed. So that's whatever.
Nice turn of phrase.
Ozzy Osbourne is auctioning paintings he made with chimps. How does Sharon keep a straight face with all those blatant cash grabs, huh?
It's so
right, surgery. That's right. Okay. I just thought about that. And Jessica Simpson has lost 100 pounds. Jack Black eventually and evidently found it. So there you go. Yeah. So there you have it.
That's good.
Jelly Roll says his wife is not a gold digger; she's a fold digger. So he's got a little weight on him.
That is so bad.
He does. Anyway, so this hour being brought to you, by the way, by Poblano's Tex-Mex Grill, and I've been bragging on them for a long time because Poblano's has some of the best Tex-Mex food you are ever going to find. They're located out of 2150. White Street, right out here in the Carlisle Commerce Center, and it's suite number 7. It's out here in West York. You can call them for takeout at 717-893-7781. You can find their menu at toasttab.com. They've got Taco Tuesday coming up tomorrow with some of the freshest tacos. Their food's all fresh, and it is fantastic. And my favorite is the chicharron sandwich, which I tell people about all the time. Apparently, if you've never had that, you need to check it out. It's a pork sandwich, and it's got like a crust on the outside, and it's so moist on the inside. But they've also got the best sweet potato fries, lathered in sea salt a little bit in a pan. And I'll tell you what, they will make some great food for you. Yeah. So why don't you check them out today? They're open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And it's Poblano's, Poblano, Tex-Mex Grill. Check them out today for lunch. Tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you. And get a free drink with your order at Poblano's Tex-Mex Grill, 2150 White Street, suite number 7, right here in York, Pennsylvania. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back with Mark Hendrickson. And Mark Hendrickson is a former pitcher in the major leagues. And I'm going to ask him about the All-Star game tomorrow. And do we still need this thing? Do All-Star games mean anything anymore? We'll ask Mark about that here on the Gary Sutton Show, the Main Street of York on WOYK 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK AM. Welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show here at 8:35 on a Monday morning, the 14th of July, 2025. Don't forget to answer our question today at facebook.com, Gary Sutton Show. You can check it out there. And, we put up a question today about President Trump and answering questions on the Epstein case, which they're not doing right now, and it kind of looks bad. And from my vantage point, but maybe you don't see it that way. So you can get in there and answer the question and give your thoughts on that this morning at Gary Sutton Show on Facebook. Don't forget, also, you can listen to our show. If you missed something today or you like something a lot or you missed the whole show, you can go in this afternoon to YouTube and just put up WOYK, and you will find our entire show. It'll be the audio version. And if you want to look at a video version of some interviews that I've done with various people around York, including this next guest, Mark Hendrickson, you can go to Just a Voice on Main Street on YouTube, and you will see those interviews up there with people like Mark Hendrickson, our next guest, former Major League pitcher, also former NBA player, played in college at Washington State University, and we're looking forward to having him in this morning here on the Gary Sutton Show. Although, do we have him yet? We'll wait and see. So far, we don't have Mark.
Text him. Tell him to answer the phone.
So let me text real quick. Mark, where the heck are you? Hey, Mark. So I think we got Mark now. And we're going to bring Mark in right now, who I did do an interview with on Just a Voice on Main Street. Good morning, Mark. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to have you in. I wanted to talk to you today about something that I have been bothered by for a long time. And I wanted to talk to you about something first. A phenomenon over the weekend, in a way. The Revolution go play in High Point. They win 2 out of 3 there. They come from behind in 2 straight games in the 8th and 9th innings and win. And, of course, High Point was the Southern Division champion the first half, the Revs the Northern Division champion. So they come back home. They do one of those overnight trips by bus. Get back home here like about 8:30, 9 o'clock the next morning. Got to play a game that night, go out and lose 19-12, have like 3 errors, look terrible. I forget, 8 walks I think they issued. And so they look awful on Friday night. Then they come back over the weekend and they lock down and they play 2 great games. They win 7-4, no errors, home runs, good pitching. Both pitchers go through 6 innings solidly. Yesterday they won 15-2. What causes that? I mean, can you get fatigued? Is that what happens sometimes? How do you fight that off as a professional athlete? You've been there, and it just looked like a lot of them were just absolutely, totally fatigued on Friday night, and then all of a sudden here comes a different group you'll see on Saturday and Sunday.
Well, I think it's interesting because if you look at any sport, you'll see a game throughout a season and you'll just be like, wait a minute, that just really doesn't make sense. How does a good team like that get blown out?
Right.
And there's no rhyme or reason, but fatigue will just hit a team in opportune times. You would think playing and going an overnight trip, sometimes teams actually come out and play better. But for whatever reason, because you're playing so many games in such a long period of time, fatigue just happens. It's inevitable. It's something that every team goes through. I think you're going to find, even the baseball teams that win 110, 115, those all-time win records for the regular season, that's really impressive because the travel is so difficult. The fact that you're continually playing games, you just have days where you just don't have it. And so,
right.
Then you try to go to the mental side, but your opponent is quality players as well. So
yeah. It's just intriguing. Is there anything you did individually and mentally to kind of fight that where you kind of felt like, man, I am really dragging? Is there any way you can overcome the physical fatigue with kind of mental focus? Talk about that a little bit, if you would.
I think so. I think if you're tired, and to me, I've always said to athletes, it's okay to admit you're tired, but don't use that as an excuse. But once you admit it, then figure out, okay, well, how do I perform when I'm tired?
Right.
What can I do differently? Because you know what? The game's not going to stop. So don't allow that built-in excuse to happen because you're going to regret it after the game or after the poor performance. So it's a way to figure out. For me, it was more just, hey, if I'm pitching and I'm tired, just keep the ball down. That's probably going to be the biggest thing. Don't try to gear up and get more to it because my body's just not going to produce it. I think if you're a hitter, maybe not taking as big a swings, just trying to see the ball deep and make contact on it. But you just know over the course of a season, you're going to have those games. You just try to make sure that those are very far and few between.
People of a certain age will remember this name, Sandy Koufax, who was a great left-handed pitcher for the L.A. Dodgers back in the day and was, I forget how many no-hitters he pitched, but the guy was unbelievable. And the worst thing you ever wanted to hear was Sandy Koufax has been sick, and he's going to pitch against you today, because whenever he was sick, it seems that that's when he threw a no-hitter. So the guy must have had some unbelievable mental approach to the game. But can you get can you get like super focused when you get sick because you're not feeling that good, and so you can somehow, get focused in like a Koufax did?
I think it's two ways. You can get super focused that way, or you're distracted because you're not feeling great and you just kind of relax. It's one of those things that can happen. You've got so many other things you can tap into that a lot of times, and it's not just athletes, everybody can tap into it. It's just, athletes are challenged in ways that most people are not, so you have to tap into different things because you're doing a physical sport and you're dealing with, for that case, under the weather, not feeling 100%, and yet you still have to go out and perform. So there's multiple ways to do it, but a lot of guys perform pretty well and they're not feeling great.
You break it up a little bit on us. I'm not sure why, so we'll see if we can correct that here, but maybe just hold the phone in there a little tighter, whatever.
Okay.
Anyway, I wanted to ask you, and this has bothered me for a while, and I bring it up, and some people around me, when they hear me say the word All-Star game, they start to roll their eyes because I know what you're going to say. Have we gone past where All-Star games serve any purpose anymore? I mean, baseball is probably the most legit of all the All-Star games, but you look at the NBA, they're going to score 1,000 points. Nobody plays defense. You look at the NHL, it's like, who cares? You look at what the pro football is the worst. They've got flag football now. I mean, what is the purpose of an All-Star game? Is there still any need anymore? Tell me from a player's point of view, if the All-Star game means anything other than being named to the All-Star team, which to me is all you'd need, and say, okay, he was an All-Star this year. Way to go.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think especially with the way things have gone, at least for the Midsummer Classic here on Tuesday, some of these guys that are deserving of an All-Star now are questioning some of the picks that have gotten in. And as a player, that means something to be an All-Star. Obviously, with your contract, with just recognition, it's something that you don't downplay. It's very, very important. As far as the game goes, I think it's so difficult because guys just don't want to get hurt, especially if you're talking football, when you're after the season and now you have to gear up and play a football game. So I think the risk factor is playing into it, and it's one thing that I know you have them, but I don't think they're as competitive as they used to be.
Right.
And I think just having the All-Star selections is probably a way to go, just because guys don't want to risk injury. For baseball, it's like, hey, we get those 3-4 days off. That's huge in the middle of a 6-month season. So guys are kind of like, man, they don't get any rest if they're going to the All-Star game.
One of the things that I got mad about is when the All-Star selection committee went to having the fans do it. Now, I understand you want to get the fans involved more, but to me it became like a popularity contest as opposed to managers and players and so forth and sports writers picking people who are really having great all-star years. It seems like every now and then you get a guy that slips in there, like you said, and you question and say, wait a minute, that guy's not having a better year than this guy over here. What's your thought about that? Do fans know better? Is that the way we should go with this? Or is it better to have managers, players, and maybe sports writers pick some of the all-stars?
Well, I think the fans, they want the fan involvement because they're the ones that show up. So I get it, but I also think it's so important, like you said, the people that are in the game and competing against players. That means something to a player. There may be a player who gets one all-star selection, but you know what? If they're deserving of it for that year, fans may not know their name, but players know who's having a great season. And if you can get that recognition, there's guys that deserve it that probably are not fan favorites. And so it's disappointing because you want to see them get that recognition. Likewise, the fan favorites that are in their 18th, 19th All-Star game, it's like, maybe they're not having a great season, but yet they still get that recognition. So it's kind of catch-22. You like to see the fans participate, but you also know there's some guys that are very deserving of it.
Yeah, and you look at the All-Star teams this year, and I guess one of the things they worked at a couple years ago is you get like the opening game in the World Series at home, and they try to make it worth something. Is that kind of a contrivance to try to do that?
Yeah, I think that kind of blew up.
Yeah.
To me, it's like if you played a whole season and you've got the best record, then somebody needs to come into your house. I mean, I give them I don't give him any credit for that. I thought that was the dumbest thing, if I'm honest, because it seemed like it was pointless to come down to an all-star game to determine home field advantage, just because it meant so much to a team. And it's such an advantage that if you play the 162 games, you got the best record, come to our house. And so,
right. It had nothing to do with anything. I mean, really, when you think about it.
No, and I don't even know what you really do. Honestly, I don't. I think each league, there's a consistent pattern there. Each league is trying to get creative because they know it's not holding the same weight that it used to in any sport.
When you look at people coming in this year, the name Cal Raleigh comes up from Seattle. I mean, this guy has 38 homers and 82 RBIs at the All-Star break. He's batting .259, but he's having like this unbelievable year. I mean, 90 hits, 347 at bats, but 38 homers and 82 RBIs at the break. The only guy I can remember even coming close to that was Barry Bonds, and we know what happened to him. He had a little help from whatever, but this guy, Cal Raleigh, is knocking it out of the park. Talk a little bit about an unbelievable season like that and where that's going.
Well, I think your audience has to understand, too, how difficult it is. He's a catcher.
Right.
Like the mental fortitude to be a catcher and handle your pitching staff, because their record, obviously they don't have the best record in their division, but they're, as of right now, a playoff team.
Right.
So that means he's managing both sides, the pitching staff and putting up those kind of numbers. That's even more impressive. I think you got to watch, too, especially with a catcher. Where does that fatigue come in towards the end of the season? Because obviously if that team is competitive and getting close to a postseason opportunity, you got to make sure he's well rested, because that fatigue sets in with catchers just because it's such a grueling spot both mentally and physically. So that's even more impressive what he's doing.
Mark, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us this morning. Good stuff. Looking forward to catching up with you at 8:35 next week. And in the meantime, have a great rest of this week and enjoy the All-Star game if you are of a mind.
All right. You too, Gary.
Thanks,
Take
buddy.
care.
Take care. Mark Hendrickson here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Back with more right after this. You did it again, didn't you? I knew you would end the show with something really good.
You liked it?
Yeah, Susu Studio. You can turn that up a little bit. Phil Collins again.
All the time, Studio.
Yeah, I don't even know what the words meant, but I love this song. Just the beat, the song.
Yeah, I think if I remember from my music days, I think a sussudio, let me look it up, is a drum.
Is that right?
I think it's a drum term.
Right.
The meaning of, yes.
There's something about the bass drum on this, or the bass sound.
He says he went from being a drummer to a vocalist. Peaked. He recalled an interview. It's simple, really, is a word that I made up.
Wow.
I didn't even make it up. It just came out of my mouth when I was recording at home. People laughed at Bebopalua, Lola. I wasn't around then, but somebody must have laughed. Tutti Frutti.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Susu Studio.
And so he made up a word himself.
Yes.
Interesting. I mean, but the song is a catchy song, was out in the charts for a long time. By the way, I do want to remind you that today at 4 p.m., they're having a sale at Thomasville Country Auction, Mark, an estate sale. They've got a new lift chair, they've got clock, they've got statues, rugs, Christmas stuff. Christmas isn't that far away, at least Christmas in July 25th. So they have a stainless steel refrigerator out there today, braided rugs, grandmother clock. I did not know there was a grandmother clock. I heard about the grandfather one, but that'll be something
What's the
interesting.
difference?
I don't know. Get out there and find out today. Indoor fountains, statues, boy doll, wood hobby horse, dolls, women's coats, maple ending coffee tables, and so much more. And you can find out what's on the list by going to thomasvillecountryauction.com. Get in there, look on the left side. They've got blue tabs. Hit auction date. And you will see every item. Of course, the date is the 14th of July, and you'll see every item that's up for bid this afternoon. By the way, Jack and Cheryl Hooks want me to remind you that if you're looking for a part-time or full-time job, Thomasville Country Auction might be just the place to go. You can take part in these sales. Always fun, always exciting. You can call them at 717-764-5403 and see what they have available and talk to Jack and Cheryl. They're just great people, and they will help you. And by the way, you could also talk to them about having a sale. Yeah, maybe it's time for you to have a sale, maybe an estate sale. I'll spit this out. Or you're moving and you're downsizing. Whatever the reasons might be, Jack and Cheryl Hooks are the ones to help you have them. They've been doing it for over 40 years, ladies and gentlemen. They're friends of mine, but they've also helped me with sales. That's right. I had a estate sale a few years ago. They had 4 different sales to get rid of all of my mom's things. It was kind of sad, but also they really stepped in where I didn't know anything about a sale and helped me. They hauled the items from my house to their auction house, my mother's house to their auction house. And then Cheryl even sold my mother's real estate and saved me a lot of headaches. They did it all. And they could do it for you. Jack and Cheryl Hooks at Thomasville Country Auction. They have a sale this afternoon at 4 p.m. Give them a call, 717-764-5403, or stop out at the sale today and tell them Gary Sutton proudly sent you to Thomasville Country Auction, Route 30 West at the railroad tracks in Thomasville.
So the difference between a grandmother clock and a grandfather clock is, according to Copilot, which is the Bing AI.
The grandmother clock works, the grandfather clock doesn't. I don't know. No,
Grandmother clocks are usually between 3 and 6 feet tall. Grandfather clocks are typically larger.
See, again, something else you learn here you would not learn anywhere else.
Grandfather clocks more ornate. They are usually more expensive.
Yeah.
They have more complex movements, and they're usually heavier than grandmother clocks.
Wow. Okay, and if the grandmother clock was heavy, you wouldn't tell her anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
not unless you want to sleep on it.
Exactly right. I was reading an article this morning about 1 year later, the Trump assassination attempt led to Secret Service overhaul, but questions over failures remain. Apparently, they knew about some of these things like a week or plus before, and nobody has been fired. By the way, nobody has been fired from the Secret Service, but there are changes being made at this time and have been made since. But it is interesting to watch that, and it's become kind of a turning point for the agency tasked with protecting the President of the United States as more details emerge from what went wrong. Apparently, Mrs. Comparator, her husband was the man who was shot and killed out there, has really questioned everything there was to question about the events of that day, and that has helped to spur some of these changes not only at what happened in Butler, but beyond. And we're going to keep on watching those as we observe the 1-year anniversary of President Trump being shot in Butler at that campaign stop.
So let's do Did You Know? Some more facts that you've already learned about the difference between grandmother and grandfather clocks.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know Americans love pizza, right?
Right.
How much do they love pizza?
How much?
An average of how many slices of pizza are sold in the U.S. every second? Every second.
Wow.
This
in the
is
U.S.
average. Yes.
Do people have it for breakfast? Let's see. Some do. I would say 100.
350 slices.
350 slices a second here in the United States.
Now, this fact, I think this one is worth remembering.
Go ahead.
This is the one takeaway I would have for today. The average person's attention span for a single screen is 47 seconds, which I thought was kind of a lot.
What'd you say?
47 seconds.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, yeah, I got that. So,
but consider this.
Go ahead.
The average person's attention span for a single screen from 2004, so 21 years ago, was 2.5 minutes.
Wow.
So it's getting short and it's doing it fast.
We don't have to remember stuff because we can go right to the smart device.
Like I just did. So
you got it right. What's your name? Anyway, no. By the way, this hour has been brought to you by Poblano's Tex-Mex Grill, located at 2150 White Street, suite number 7. Lachelle Rios and Pablo Ayala are ready to cook up some great Tex-Mex food for you, whether it's empanadas, shrimp tacos, steak bowl, sweet potato fries, churros. They've got it all out there right now. From 11 to 8, Monday through Saturday, Poblano's Tex-Mex Grill is one of the neatest places you'll go to. Very clean, very nice, very fresh. And they have Taco Tuesday tomorrow, but they are open today at 11 to 8. Why don't you stop on out and have lunch and find out what I already know, that they are one of the great places to have Tex-Mex food right here in New York. Give them a call for takeout, 717-893-7781. That's 717-893-7781. Check their menu out at toasttab.com.
So let's do one more. Did you know? These are, again, odd facts. Everybody has probably seen Boise State, the blue field. Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting that they were the first to actually even conceive of a non-green artificial turf.
Right.
And they trademarked the idea. So if anyone else in the world wants to do a different color than green, they have to get Boise State's permission.
Really?
What do you think of that?
That is an interesting
Did you know?
fact. Did you know? Yeah.
All right, we got to go.
Okay, we will do that. Tomorrow we got a great show for you. We got James Sanders on tomorrow. He'll have an interesting article to kind of cut apart. He's our business guru. We'll also be checking in with Jamie Norpel tomorrow as well, and so much more. All here on the Gary Sutton Show. Thanks for joining us today. Always a pleasure having you aboard. See you tomorrow at 6. It is 9 o'clock.